Chapter 1607. Love. Sima Yue thought that there wouldn't be many people rushing towards Rabbit Ear Mountain like them. However, she didn't expect to see a group of people leaving the city and heading towards Rabbit Ear Mountain as soon as she arrived at the city gate. Since they weren't familiar with the environment, they discussed for a moment and decided to find someone to accompany them. In the end, this glorious and difficult task fell on Sima Yue and Han Miaoshuang. Because everyone agreed with Feng Zhixing's point of view, Yu was born with affinity, plus she and Han Miaoshuang were two great beauties. It was easy to get into relationships with others. Sima Yue rolled her eyes. How could she do that? However, the two of them resigned themselves to their fate and began to search for their target. He didn't want women in his entourage. He also didn't want people who looked too cunning. He also didn't want people who were too smart. Perhaps, before he could get any information out of them, someone else might get the information out of them. After looking around, they finally chose a group that seemed to have only a dozen people. They were dressed plainly and looked very deceptive. They were discussing something under a big tree outside the city. All of them looked worried. "Excuse me, big brother. May I know which direction is the Rabbit Ear Mountain?" Sima Yue pulled Han Miaoshuang over and asked with a smile. Their conversation was interrupted, but they were not angry. They looked at the two of them and pointed in the direction of Rabbit Ear Mountain. Follow the northeast direction and fly for 2 days. A round-looking man gave them the specific route and time. 2 days? Didn't you say that it would only take 1 day? Sima Yue frowned. Who gave you a day's time? When I was at the inn, I asked one of my roommates. You've been fooled by him. The round-faced man sized up the two of them. You're not from the island, are you? No wonder he was fooled. Those people like to do such things when they have nothing better to do. Ah. After walking for a day, you didn't reach the Rabbit Ear Mountain, but the Broken Cliff Mountain. It's just an abandoned mountain with nothing there. Sima Yue and Han Miaoshuang's faces were filled with shock and disbelief. They didn't expect to be cheated by others. To be honest, we are indeed not from the island. We came to Rabbit Ear Mountain because we heard that there was a herb that we needed. I didn't expect that we would be cheated. Sima Yue's words were half true. She had indeed heard from others that it would only take a day. However, with the map in hand, she knew the distance to Rabbit Ear Mountain. That was why she could tell at a glance that the person who gave her directions was not telling the truth. Then you should be here to participate in the Crimson Pearl Convention, right? The chubby man hesitated for a moment and said, We are going to Rabbit Ear Mountain too. You can come with us, but we can only bring you to the front of the mountain. We cannot enter the mountain with you. Granduncle. The others called out anxiously. Granduncle, we still have things to do. What if it's just leading the way? What can happen? Fatty's words carried weight. When he agreed, the others didn't dare to have any objections. All right, success or failure will be decided today. If the heavens really want our Gua family to die, it won't be affected just by leading the way. Another man in white said. The two most influential people had already spoken. What else could they say? Sima Yue could tell that these people weren't in a good situation. They wanted to go to Rabbit Ear Mountain to find something to turn things around. To be able to extend a helping hand to outsiders at this time. It showed that these people's character was not bad. Uncle, how should I address you? I am Guainda. You can call me Uncle Gua. Fatty smiled and pointed to the man in white. This is my nephew Gua Xian. Hello Uncle Gua, hello big brother Gua. Sima Yue and Han Miaoshuang bowed to the two of them. I am Sima Yue. This is my senior sister, Han Miaoshuang. That is my grandpa, grandma, father and the others. She waved to the few of them from afar. After they walked over, she introduced them to each other. Guainda saw that they looked familiar and didn't ask much. He called out to his people. It's useless to talk about these now. We will know when we reach Rabbit Ear Mountain. Let's go. The Gua family called out their flying beasts. Sima Yue saw that it was strong but not fast. Uncle Gua, we are in a rush. My flying beast is faster and bigger. If you don't mind, why don't you come with us? Sima Yue called out Chongming. Seeing Chongming's real body, Guainda was surprised. But he quickly regained his senses and said, Since you are in a rush, we will follow you. All right then. Please go ahead. Sima Yue brought everyone to Chongming's back and let it fly towards the northeast direction. Along the way, Sima Yue and the rest chatted about unimportant things with Guinda. They also talked about their own things to get closer to each other. When they talked about how they were charged 800,000 top-grade crystals for the boat ride, the Gua family treated them as spendthrifts. Why isn't it 10,000 per person? Sima Yue asked when she saw them smiling at her. No, this boatman's charges are very strange. The standards are different, but there has never been a situation where he charged 100,000 per person. Guinda smiled until his eyes could not be seen. Sima Yue was stunned. So she was cheated? Seeing her dumbfounded expression, the Gua family members all laughed. But it wasn't the kind of laughter that mocked a fool. They just felt that her expression when she realized she was cheated was a little cute. Can the boatman charge as he pleases? Won't people make a fuss if he charges too much? Han Miaoshuang asked. Hee, everyone knows the boatman's identity. Who dares to make a fuss with him? Gua Xian laughed. Sima Yue said in her heart. She knew that the boatman's identity wasn't low. He really had a background. What's his identity? He has a good relationship with the island master. Don't be fooled by his fat head and big ears. He's very powerful. With both power and background, who would dare to make a fuss? That's true. With these two things he can do whatever he wants. No, you said that the boatman is fat? Isn't he a strong man? Sima Yue asked. A strong man? Yiyu, are you mistaken? The Gua family looked at her strangely. Boatman Tuo's figure can't be considered fat, right? Han Miaoshuang said doubtfully. Boatman Tuo? The boatman that ferried you is surnamed Tuo? That's right. He told us to call him Boatman Tuo. Why isn't it? That boatman's surname isn't Tuo. You must have been cheated by someone. Guinda laughed. No wonder they were cheated. This was a one-time deal. Even if they realized they were cheated, they wouldn't be able to find the person to settle the score. Sima Yue didn't think so much. Just from the map that he gave her, she knew that this person's identity wasn't ordinary. Chapter 1608. Wasn't it just a few 100,000 crystal stones? She really didn't care, as long as those things were useful. Thinking of this, she instantly felt like she was a rich and overbearing bag. Yue, since you can take out so many crystals, it means that you don't lack that little bit. Since that's the case, you'd better not go back to look for him. To be able to hang out with someone like the boatman and be able to control his ship, he definitely isn't an ordinary person. Guinda said earnestly. Sima Yue understood that he was afraid that if she went back to argue with helmsman Tuo, she would offend someone powerful. In the end, the gains would not make up for the losses. Uncle Gua, I understand. She smiled at Guinda and thought that she had a good eye for people. The people she chose were really good. Then Sima Yue asked other questions about Rabbit Ear Mountain, such as where were the herbs and so on. The Gua family's answer was similar to what she had heard before. At this point, Guinda could not help but sigh. Uncle Gua, are you guys in trouble? Sima Yue asked. Seeing that the Gua family was looking at her warily, she scratched the back of her ear and said, You guys looked so worried before, and now you're sighing at the mention of North Mountain. That's why I wanted to ask. If there's anything inconvenient, you don't have to tell me. Anyway, this matter had nothing to do with her, so it wouldn't affect her whether she said it or not. She only wanted to ask because she saw that they were nice people. No, if he said it, he might be soft-hearted and go to help. When she thought of this, she actually hoped that the other party would stop talking. Sigh. Guinda sighed again. It's not that we don't want to tell you, but there's no point in telling you. Instead, it will only bring you more trouble. Once we reach the Rabbit Ear Mountain, all of you can just separate from us, and the trouble will naturally not follow you. His words aroused the sympathy of Han Miaoshuang and the others. I heard you guys talking about extermination. Is it that serious? The Gua family members were all silent. Han Miaoshuang also knew that she had asked something she shouldn't have, and was a little embarrassed. The originally harmonious atmosphere suddenly turned awkward. Actually, it's not a big deal. This is a family matter. If we talk about it, it will only bring you trouble. Gua Xian smiled. However, this might also be an opportunity for us, so it's not that serious. That's good. Sima Yue then asked a few other questions to cover up what happened just now. Halcyon's speed was extremely fast. If it wasn't for the fact that Sima Yue wanted him to slow down, they would only need a day to reach Rabbit Ear Mountain. Even so, the Guo family was still surprised by Chongming's speed. Sima Yue did not explain further. After arriving at Rabbit Ear Mountain, the Guo family left after exchanging a few words. These people are not bad. They left in such a hurry because they were afraid of bringing trouble to us. Huang Yingying said with some emotion. They could tell that the Guo family was not a big family. It was just a small family living at the end of the island. According to the information Yue had read, a family like the Guo family had to rely on a more powerful family. Thinking of this, she sighed. As the saying goes, wherever there are people, there will be Jianghu. Even a place like the Lost Lands was not spared. It's indeed not bad. I'll let the Scarlet Bees follow them. If it's a small matter, we'll help if we can. If it affects the purpose of this trip. Sima Yue did not finish her sentence, but everyone understood. They came here to look for their master and teacher. Nothing should affect their purpose. Master Yinlin only asked us to come to Rabbit Ear Mountain to look for an opportunity, but he didn't say what it was. What should we do? Su Xiaoxiao looked at Sima Yue. She had the most contact with Yinlin, so she might understand what he meant. Sima Yue recalled the last time they went to Ghost City. The opportunity Xiao Tong mentioned was Mu Si. Was it to look for a person this time? She shook her head, indicating that she did not know. Since you don't know, let's just walk around. Anyway, Master Yinlin said that it's here. I think we'll meet him eventually. Sima Lu Xian said. Didn't he say that there are many herbs here? Since it's the Lost Lands, there should be different herbs here. Since we have nothing to do, why not look around? Feng Zhixing said. All right. Everyone was not familiar with this place, so the group of people wandered around the mountain. Occasionally, they would meet some people who came here to train or to look for treasures. However, they did not see the Guo family. Perhaps everyone was paying attention to the Guo family, so they were not too far away from the Guo family. However, they were brought to the depths of Rabbit Ear Mountain unknowingly. Sima Yue saw that the grass was getting thicker and thicker, and the spirit herbs they obtained were getting older. Sima Yue knew that they were in the depths of the mountain. She frowned slightly when she thought of what Helmsman Tua said about an old monster living here. Perhaps it was because everyone knew about this, so very few people came here and left these spirit herbs behind. The Guo family had always been in front of them, which meant that they were deeper in than them. What did they want that they needed to come to such a dangerous place? Suddenly, she stopped in her tracks and frowned tightly. Yue, did something happen to the Guo family? Huang Yingying asked. Sima Yue nodded and said, the Guo family fought with someone. It seems that they saved a young man. The other party is stronger than them. She explained the entire situation in 2 short sentences. The Guo family's strength was not low outside, but on this island it was not enough. How are they compared to us? If we call the others, there should be no problem. Sima Yue said. The others? Didn't Xiaoxi's father send some people to stay with me? I brought them here. Yes, to protect Xiaoxi's safety. Sima Yue smiled wickedly. Xiaoxi, who was in the spirit pagoda, heard this and rolled his eyes at her. This person who used her position for personal gain, she did not play with him anymore. She only knew how to throw him into the spirit pagoda. Fortunately, he was now familiar with the beasts and was not as clingy as before. When she needed him to leave, he could find something to play with in the spirit pagoda. Most importantly, he and Little Roar could turn the spirit pagoda upside down. If it were not for Qi Yan and the others keeping watch, who knew what would have happened? The first time she saw their results, she could not help but facepalm. It was really, she could not bear to hit Xiaoxi. The most important thing was that she could not hit him. If his father found out, he would settle the score with her. Thus, in the end, she hung Little Roar up and hit him a few times, causing him to feel indignant. The 2 of them were the ones who caused trouble, but in the end, he was the only one who was punished. It was not fair. Woo. Chapter 1609. In order to ensure Little Lucky's safety, Supreme Fifth Spirit Senior had left behind a group of ancient spiritual beasts. Before he left, Sima Yue had brought them all into her little realm. However, she could not order those old fellows around. Thus she called Little Lucky out. At first, Xiaoxi was still a little arrogant. She usually didn't play with her, but now that she was begging her, she was determined to ignore her. However, he couldn't resist the closeness he felt towards her. After obtaining her promise to let him follow them, he asked her to summon the ancient spirit beasts and ordered them to save the people. These ancient spirit beasts were not as protective of Little Lucky as the hidden demonic beast. As long as Little Lucky's life was not in danger, they would not appear. The order they received was to not only protect Little Lucky, but also to listen to him. Now that Little Lucky had ordered them to save her, they naturally did not dare to delay. Without stopping, they rushed to the place Sima Yue had mentioned. Sima Yue and the rest did not stop as well. They followed suit. By the time they arrived, the Guo family was already heavily injured and lying on the ground. A black-clothed man stood beside Guinda and stepped on his chest. He sneered. Guinda, you didn't think that there would be a day when you would be stepped on by me, right? Guinda was already heavily injured, and after being stepped on by that person, he lost half of his life. He grabbed the man's feet with both hands. He couldn't move them away, but at least it would be better. Tang Fei, don't be too happy yet. You dare to chase after young master? Aren't you afraid of being exterminated? Cough cough. Before he could finish his sentence, he choked on the surging blood and started coughing nonstop. Young master? This bastard? He's not worthy. Tang Fei glanced at the youth lying not too far away and said, At this time, I'm not afraid to tell you that this old man is under orders from above. As long as we kill this bastard, not only will we be exempt from the taxes, we will also be able to participate in the Crimson Pearl Convention. Without him, the person above him would be the young master, the future patriarch. If I follow him, will my Tang family fall into ruin? On the other hand, your Guo family has offended the higher-ups. Just wait for your family to be exterminated. Tang Fei and his subordinates all laughed. They were very arrogant and conceited. The youth on the ground clenched his fists, his face full of resentment and unwillingness. Guinda, although your Guo family is finished this time, you don't have to die today. You can only blame yourselves for being a busybody and wanting to save this person. Let me tell you, none of you are going to escape today. Tang Fei added more strength to his leg. Tang Fei, stop. The youth angrily condensed his spirit energy to attack Tang Fei, but he was also an arrow at the end of its flight, and his attack was easily broken by Tang Fei. Bastard, don't worry. Once I'm done with him, I'll send you on your way. Tang Fei laughed. Tang Fei, if I don't die today, I will definitely slaughter your entire Tang family. The youth said hatefully. I'm so scared. Tang Fei said in a strange tone before sending Guinda flying with a kick. He came to the youth's side and said, Tao Xian, do you still think you're the young master of the Tao family? You're just a bastard from God knows where. How dare you call me that? Didn't you want to slaughter my entire family? Then I'll send you to hell today. After he finished speaking, he condensed his spirit energy in his hand and attacked the person on the ground. Sima Yue secretly cursed. The ancient spirit beast was still so far away from them. How could they save that child? Han Miaoshuang knew that Sima Yue had always been by her side. Before she could sense that she was gone, she saw her suddenly appear beside Tang Fei. She only saw her silently appear and send Tang Fei flying with a palm strike. She grabbed the youth on the ground and retreated 10 over meters to Guinda's side. Seeing the person who suddenly appeared, both parties were stunned. The Guo family reacted first and said excitedly, You a young lady. Why are you here? Tang Fei secretly cursed when he heard that. The Guo family and this person obviously knew each other. If she saved Tao Xian, then they would all be finished. However, seeing that she was alone and wasn't very powerful, his anxious heart calmed down. Young lady, I advise you not to meddle in other people's business. Be careful not to lose your little life. Tang Fei threatened. Sima Yue was still carrying Tao Xian in her hands. When she saw how dirty he was, her eyebrows furrowed slightly. She took out a pill and stuffed it into his mouth before releasing him. She let him sit in front of Guinda. As for her, she stood steadily in front of the two of them. This posture was clearly telling Tang Fei that she had saved these two people. Tang Fei originally thought that Sima Yue was young and inexperienced. She had come to help because she was young and ignorant, and had given in after being scared. However, he didn't expect that she would completely ignore him, and even give Tao Yixian a pill to eat. She didn't even put him in her eyes. Tao Yixian looked at Sima Yue's back. He didn't know why, but his usually cold eyes were actually a little wet. Ever since he was young, not many people had stood in his way. There had only been two women. One of them was his mother who had died protecting him, and the other was this stranger in front of him. Sima Yue stared at Tang Fei for a while. That fearless look, that disdainful look in her eyes, really stunned him. He couldn't help but take a step back. Uncle Gua, should we leave them alive or should we just kill them? Sima Yue turned her head to ask. Guinda never thought that helping them lead the way out of the kindness of his heart would lead to a reversal in today's hopeless situation. He glanced at Tao Yixian and said to her, "Leave them alive for now. The young master may have some questions to ask him." Sima Yue nodded and said, "Did you hear that?" Tao Yixian was stunned. Could it be that she didn't plan on doing it herself? Just as she spoke, several figures rushed out from behind and quickly took down the Tang family members. This scene caused the Gua family members to stare in shock. Wasn't this a little too easy? The ancient spiritual beasts had all retracted their auras, so that they looked no different from normal transformed beasts. No one would have thought that they were ancient spiritual beasts. Who are you people? How dare you touch my Tang family? Tang Fei refused to give up, and wanted to use his family name to scare her. Sima Yue didn't know who this Tang family was. Perhaps it was because they were too young so they hadn't received Helmsman Tuo's pamphlet. Since that was the case, there was nothing for him to be afraid of. You guys went too easy on them. They still have the energy to make a ruckus. Little Lucky jumped onto Sima Yue's shoulder, and pointed at Tang Fei as he cried out. Those ancient spirit beasts understood what he meant, and punched him in the stomach again. How could Tang Fei take a punch from an ancient spiritual beast? He couldn't even cry out before he fainted. When the others saw what happened to him, they couldn't help but purse their lips. They didn't think that she was this simple and violent. The remaining people ran over and fed the Gua family members pills, so that they could heal their wounds first. If there were any other problems, they could talk about it later. She then began to size up Tao Yixian. Handsome features, large eyes, long eyelashes, and a deep gaze that sucked people in. Chapter 16:10. Tao Yixian felt a little embarrassed when he saw Sima Yue sizing him up. It wasn't because he wasn't used to being stared at, but he was afraid that she would see through his emotions. Sima Yue noticed his evasive gaze and squatted in front of him, asking, "Little brother, how old are you?" It was a very normal question, but it made the other party blush. He turned his head to the side and ignored her. This little guy has quite a temper. Han Miaoshuang walked over. "Hey little guy, we're your saviors. You can't be so arrogant, understand? Yue, don't be like this. Young master is not a child." Guinda had already eaten the pill, and was able to sit up. When he saw them talking to Tao Yixian like this, he spoke up. "Not a child? Then why does he look like a 10-year-old child?" Sima Yue reached out and pinched his face. There was no human skin mask or anything like that. It was indeed the body of a young man. Tao Yixian wanted to resist, but because his injuries were too severe he couldn't. Guinda's expression changed, and he explained. "It's like this young master was plotted against by them. That's why he became like this. Young master is already over 400 years old." Sima Yue's hand froze in the air. Seeing Tao Yixuan's sparkling eyes, she giggled. "You're really not a kid." Humph. Tao Yixian didn't want to pay attention to her. However, the area where she had pinched him felt a burning sensation on his face. Fortunately, his face was covered in dust, so nothing could be seen. Han Miaoshuang looked at Tao Yixian curiously. What made him turn from an adult into a child? Guinda shook his head. He didn't know either. They turned their gazes towards Tao Yixian. All right, this proud little fellow would definitely not tell them anything. By the way, Yue, why are you here? Guo Yindao changed the topic to make the atmosphere less awkward. Oh, didn't you say that there are many medicinal herbs in the North Mountain? We came here to look for herbs, and unknowingly, we ended up here. Later on, I heard sounds of fighting, so I came over to take a look. I didn't expect it to be you guys. Sima Yue explained half-truthfully. They had indeed found some medicinal herbs along the way, so it wasn't a lie. I didn't expect you to be so powerful. We were blind before. I wonder who these benefactors are, Guo Xian said. They looked at the ancient spiritual beasts with strange expressions. He had never seen these people before, so he had no idea where they came from. They are his bodyguards. Sima Yue pointed at Little Lucky. We met them on the way here. The Guo family obviously didn't believe her words. If they had met on the way, why would they be so close to her? Obviously, they had known each other for a long time. But if she didn't say anything, they couldn't ask. She just wanted to know that she had saved them. Guo Jiaming will always remember your kindness in saving my life. Guo Yinda struggled to get up and wanted to salute them. Uncle Guo, you're seriously injured. Don't move. Sima Yue said. Kid, why aren't you reacting at all? In any case, I saved your life just now. You saved me for a moment, but you can't. Tao Yixian suddenly stopped and said, thank you. She had saved him, so even if he wanted to give up on himself, what did it have to do with her? Why did he have to implicate her? Sima Yue looked at him and grabbed his wrist. He wanted to take it back, but found that he couldn't. Yue. Guo Yinda looked at her worriedly. Sima Yue finally let go of his hand after a while. She stood up and took 2 steps back, crossing her arms as she looked at him, saying, You look like you've been poisoned, right? This kind of poison isn't bad either. It can make you return to your youth, don't you think? Tao Yixian raised his head in shock and looked at her in disbelief. She actually knew that he was in this state because he had been poisoned. Then did that mean that she could cure the poison as well? I can't cure your poison right now, Sima Yue said honestly. The light in Tao Yixian's eyes dimmed. Even she couldn't do anything about it. Guo Yinda looked at Sima Yue from the side. Miss Yue, I know that you're very capable. Please save the young master. She could tell at a glance that Tao Yixian had been poisoned, so in their eyes, she was very powerful. Yu was frightened by his kneeling. She had lived for so long, but no one had ever knelt before her. She went over to help him up, saying, Uncle Guo, don't be like this. Yu, the young master, is in a lot of pain. Please save him. Guo Yinda stood up with the help of her strength, holding onto her hand without letting go. Uncle Guo, it's not that I don't want to save him, but that I really can't. Sima Yue said. The poison he's been poisoned with is called the 100 insects and 100 grass pill. It's made from 100 different poisons and 100 different poisonous insects. If you want to cure the poison, you have to know what these 100 poisons and poisonous insects are. If you make a mistake, then it won't be an antidote, but a poison. Guo Yinda was shocked by this answer. He was so stunned that he couldn't say anything. Tao Yixian's eyes flashed with despair as he sat on the ground. Yu, how much longer can the young master live? Guo Xian asked. That depends on his body. The deeper the poison, the smaller his body will become. When his body returns to its infantile state, that will be the end, Sima Yue said. Looking at him like this, I think he'll be able to hold on for 1 or 2 years. 1 or 2 years. To a normal person, that wasn't a short time, but to a cultivator, wasn't that just the blink of an eye? Everyone's faces were filled with despair. You guys don't have to be like this, right? Feeling as if everyone's lives had been sucked out, Sima Yue couldn't help but look up at the sky at a 45-degree angle. She gritted her teeth and said, Actually, it's not like there's no way. What way? Guo Xian asked. The person who made this poison either has the antidote or the recipe for the antidote. As long as we can get our hands on it, it'll be fine. Sima Yue said. The possibility of this poison being made is too high. If he can't remember which poisonous insects and plants he used and accidentally gets poisoned, he'll definitely die. In order to prevent this possibility, they'll leave behind the antidote. As long as you know who poisoned him and get your hands on the antidote, it'll be fine. As long as he doesn't return to his infantile state, it'll be fine. She thought that they would be happy after she said that, but after she finished speaking, everyone went silent. What's wrong? Don't tell me that person is already dead? If that was the case, then this person really couldn't be saved. That's not it. Seeing that she misunderstood, Guo Xian explained. It's just that this person isn't easy to meet. As long as he's not dead, then there's hope. Why are all of you crying? Han Miaoshuang came over and asked. It's really, Zai. Sima Yue saw their expressions and understood. Although the person who poisoned him was still alive, he was probably as good as dead. Before she could ask what happened, a sudden aura shrouded them. Sima Yue felt the aura coming towards her. Chapter 16:11. That aura only swept over them roughly, but their backs were drenched in cold sweat. First message of love-death seemed to be just a matter of flipping his hand. Fortunately, that aura had no intention of killing them, so it disappeared in an instant. Everyone felt like they had just survived a disaster. However, before they could relax, they felt the aura closing in. After a few breaths, a woman dressed entirely in white appeared in front of them. She had snow-white skin, snow-white hair, snow-white clothes, and snow-white shoes. When Sima Yue saw her, she wondered if this person was the Snow Lady. Other than her, no one else had the courage to look at this woman. Sima Yue looked at her. She could not sense any aura from her as she stood there, but people like her were the scariest. This should be the old monster mentioned by Helmsman Tua, right? The woman looked at Xiao Shi, who was in Sima Yue's arms, and wanted to grab him. However, Sima Yue hugged him and took 2 steps back. Greetings, senior. Sima Yue carried little Lucky and bowed to the woman. Only then did the woman notice Sima Yue. Who are you? What does it have to do with you? My name is Sima Yue. Xiao Shi is the son of an old friend of mine. Old friend? Ancient spirit beasts have just appeared in the world, and they're already old friends with you? The woman's voice was faint, but it was imposing without being angry. Yes. Sima Yue was afraid, but she did not show it on her face. If they really fought, he didn't know who would be more powerful, her or the magical beast guarding the space. I've taken a fancy to this little fellow. Leave him to me, the woman said. I'm sorry, senior. Little Lucky's father gave it to me. I can't give it to you, Sima Yue said. You dare to disobey my orders? Aren't you afraid I'll kill you? The woman waved her hand and Sima Yue felt a strong suction force pulling her towards her. The woman grabbed her by the throat. Yue, junior sister. Sima Luxian and the others wanted to come over, but they were stopped by the woman's gaze. They were unable to move. When Xiao Shi saw how the woman dealt with Sima Yue, he became anxious and quickly attacked the woman. They were already close to each other, and little Lucky was extremely fast. Before anyone could react, he was already in the woman's hand. Don't hurt him. Sima Yue's eyes were filled with fear. If something happened to little Lucky, how was she going to explain it to Supreme Fifth Spirit Senior? Senior. Sima Yue, 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 Yue, Sima Yue. Senior, I know that you like Lil Lucky. However, you do not wish to possess him. If you kill me, little Lucky will definitely ignore you. Sima Yue said slowly. You know what I'm thinking? Senior, there's no lust in your eyes, only curiosity. So I think that you just want to understand the ancient spirit beast, but you don't want to possess it. Am I right? Sima Yue analyzed. Humph, what a clever girl. The woman let go of Sima Yue. Sima Yue was finally able to breathe properly. Everyone's hearts also settled down. Thank you, senior, for not killing me, Sima Yue said gratefully. You're so sure that I won't kill you? When we came here, we met a helmsman with the surname Tua. He said that when we reach Rabbit Ear Mountain, if we meet Senior, we can just say that he is Helmsman Tua. I think that he can be so sure, not because he is stronger than you, but because you are not a bloodthirsty person. Sima Yue said. Helmsman Tua? When the woman heard this name, her emotions changed slightly. Forget it, since he wants to protect someone, I'll give him this face. Lend this little guy to me to play with for 2 days. I'll return it in 10 days. After speaking, she didn't care about Sima Yue and the rest's reaction, and left with little Lucky. Everyone looked at her back view unwillingly. Yue, are you okay? Sima Lu Xian went forward and saw the purplish-green marks on her neck. He was very worried. Father, I'm fine. Sima Yue grabbed his hand, not letting him look at her wounds. What do we do now? An ancient spirit beast asked. Wait. Sima Yue said one word and didn't speak anymore. She kept looking at the direction where the woman left. The others didn't have any other ideas. That woman was so powerful, who would dare to snatch him? Since she said that she would return little Lucky in 10 days, they could only hope that she would keep her promise. For the first time, she could only watch as things developed and she couldn't do anything. She clenched her hands tightly. If that woman really dared to do anything to little Lucky, she would definitely think of a way to make that magical beast take action. If she was only willing to take action when she was in a life and death situation, she stood there for 2 days, and in these 2 days, no matter who spoke to her, she ignored them. Yue, since she said that it would take 10 days, it's useless for you to just stand there. Come and rest for a while. Feng Zhixing said with heartache. He originally thought that it was useless, but she moved her body and turned to look at them. It was good that she had a reaction. Junior sister, you've been standing there for 2 days. Come and rest for a while. Han Miaoshuang walked over and held her hand, pulling her back. Sima Yue nodded and went to rest in their tent. They were right. It was useless for her to just stand there. She could only wait for the results. She washed up in the tent, and when she went out, she swept away her previous depression and found Tao Yixian, saying, I'll help you take back the position of young master. But you have to help me do something. If you agree, I can stop your body from shrinking. Really? Tao Yixian felt that the depressed her from before was too much of an eyesore. She looked better like this. I never say things that I'm not sure of. Sima Yue said. What do you want me to do? Although Tao Yixian was very moved, he still had to ask for the conditions. Help me find the whereabouts of 2 people. Just find people? Tao Yixian felt that her conditions were too simple. It was hard to believe. Sima Yue nodded. It's a little difficult to find 2 people on the entire island. But I think that with the Tao family's strength, it shouldn't be a problem, right? The Tao family was the largest family in Vermilion Bird City. They were ranked near the top in the small booklet that Helmsman Tua had given her. Then you're saying that you know about the Tao family. Then do you know the situation I'm facing? Do you know how difficult it is to help me take back the position of young master? Tao Yixian asked. Of course I do. Then you're helping me do such a difficult thing, and you only want me to find 2 people for you? Chapter 16:12. Sima Yue looked straight at Tao Yixian and said, To you, finding someone is a simple matter, but to me, this is very important. As for your matter, although it is difficult for me, it is not impossible. Tao Yixian's body shook. This was the first time he had seen such a confident woman. That kind of confidence was like an ice blade stabbing into his frozen world. It seemed that something was different. All right. I promise you. He nodded. You help me regain the position of young master, and I'll help you find the person. At the same time, I can also promise you another condition. Seeing that Sima Yue was about to say something, he waved his hand and said, I don't like to owe people anything, so I'll agree to your other request. Of course, that's only if it's within my capabilities. Okay. Sima Yue did not refuse, but the way she looked at him changed. Such a person could still be considered righteous. Now you can tell me about your situation. I want to know everything big and small, so that I can think of a way. I think you guys still don't know who's behind this, right? Sima Yue said. Yes and no. Tao Yixian said. I know who poisoned me, but I don't know who's behind it. Tao Yixian said. Why? In this kind of family, it was generally obvious who was who, right? Because that person is my foster father. When Tao Yixian mentioned his foster father, his voice trembled slightly. Adoptive father? Sima Yue recalled that they used to call him a bastard. Yes. Back then, my father was being hunted down and was poisoned when he was escaping. He met my mother, and the two of them had a relationship. That was how I was born. But my mother didn't know, and she didn't do it willingly, so she took the jade pendant from his waist and left. At that time, my father already had a wife, and his mind was not very clear at that time, so when he woke up he did not take this matter to heart. So he was simply an illegitimate child. Then how did you return to your family? Sima Yue asked. My mother passed away a few years after giving birth to me. Before she died, she handed me over to a good friend of hers, and had him raise me. She also told him about my identity. My mother didn't know my father's identity before, but when she found out later, she didn't bring me back. My adoptive father knew my identity, and at my mother's request, he didn't bring me back unless there was nowhere else to go. So, I didn't know my identity until I was in my 20s. However, when I was 25 years old, the Tao family found me and said that they would bring me back to acknowledge my ancestors. Later on, I found out that my father's son had died. He heard that someone had used the jade pendant to inquire about the matter. He remembered that romantic night, so he sent someone to look for me. He knew that I was extremely talented, and his position as the young master was somewhat shaken at that time, so being childless was a huge point of attack. So you went back, Sima Yue said firmly. Yes. Although he didn't raise me, he was still my father. Because of some reasons I was his only son, so he couldn't bear to see others attack him because he didn't have a son. Tao Yixian said. Also my adoptive father said that he would go back with me. At that time, I also thought that as long as I was with my adoptive father, it didn't matter where I was. I just didn't think that. You didn't think that your adoptive father would do something to you, right? Sima Yue asked. How did you know? Because when you talked about your adoptive father, your voice was very complicated. Also, you're so smart. No matter who tried to harm you, you should be able to guess who it was. Since you couldn't guess, then it must be someone you didn't expect. Sima Yue said. You returned to your family as an illegitimate child and obstructed the interests of others. You must have been in a very difficult situation at the time. Your adoptive father had been with you for so long that you were caught off guard. Am I right? Tao Yixian lowered his eyes and didn't deny her guess. Sima Yue felt some sympathy for him. No wonder when he talked about the past, his grief was greater than his anger. No one would be able to accept being betrayed by such a close relative. Your adoptive father didn't contact anyone? If he did, I would be able to guess the person behind him. However, he spent most of his time with me and had very little time for himself. That's why I can't understand why he would betray me. Tao Yixian clenched his fists so tightly that his fingernails dug into his palms until they bled. Sima Yue sighed and stepped forward to hold his hands, prying his fingers apart. Since he raised you up, your life can be considered as repaying his kindness of raising you. When you meet him again, you don't have to be merciful. Just give him the cruelest revenge. Sima Yue said slowly. Tao Yixian lowered his head to look at her fingers. Her white fingertips were stained with his blood and were very eye-catching. You're right. I was raised by him. If it weren't for him, I wouldn't have been able to live until now. Just treat it as repaying his kindness for raising me. He quickly collected his emotions and his voice was so calm that it was hard to hear any emotions. Sima Yue didn't try to persuade him anymore. She stood up and said, All right, let's talk about other things. What else do you want to know? The Tao family's structure, how many factions they have, who are the representatives, who will benefit the most from your death. I think you know what to say, right? Sima Yue said. If we're talking about who will benefit the most from my death, it should be my father. What? Sima Yue was shocked for the first time. A bitter smile appeared on Tao Yixian's face. My father didn't handle something well and brought quite a bit of loss to the family, so someone asked him to step down and let me take over as the family head. You're not close to your father, are you? Sima Yue guessed. He and his wife were childhood sweethearts and had a very deep relationship. She was also the one who asked to be with him for the rest of their lives. My father felt that my existence was a stain on the oath they made back then. When he brought me back, he was already forced by the situation, so how could he be close to me? Sima Yue expressed deep sympathy for him. His life was already very difficult, And he was even disliked by his father and pressured by his wife. It really was a bit pitiful. And I understand. Now let's talk about other things. Alright. Aside from the main faction, the Tao family is split into 3 other factions. Does anyone from these 3 factions support you? No. Sima Yue pursed her lips. None of the factions supported him. Just how miserable was this guy's life before this? How on earth did he survive? In your situation, if you die, everyone will benefit. If you go back like this, it'll be hard for you to take the family head's position. Sima Yue poked at Tao Yixian's weak spot. Chapter 16:13. Sima Yue felt a headache coming on. Could a person like this be able to take on such a huge responsibility? Actually, my situation isn't that bad. Tao Yixian said. What trump cards do you have? Sima Yue asked. 2 elders have hinted to me before, and I have information on 2 of them. Also, the old ancestor supports me. Since you have people supporting you, why did you get yourself into this state? Sima Yue couldn't understand. The 2 elders who have expressed their goodwill to me are rather important in the clan. However, they don't have the guts or confidence to go against the others. Their thinking is that as long as I'm willing, they will follow me. However, when I don't have the power to go against the other 3 sects, they won't openly side with me. As for the 2 that I caught, I naturally hope that they're dead. Then what about your old ancestor? He's in closed-door cultivation. If it weren't for that, they wouldn't have dared to make a move against me. Tao Yixian said. By the time the old ancestor comes out, I'll already be dead. They won't receive any punishment. Then when will your old ancestor come out? The old ancestor said that he's not in closed-door cultivation this time. As long as I can go back and find him, he'll come out. That's why I'm guessing that the people in your clan will stop you from seeing the old ancestor. After I was poisoned and escaped, I sent people to find the old ancestor. Just as you said, they've sealed off the surroundings. The people I sent are all dead. As expected. Sima Yue sighed. It looks like your old ancestor is the key to this matter. As long as you can get him to come out, you'll be halfway done. Tao Yixian looked at her and reminded her. You seem to have forgotten the most important factor. If my poison can't be cured, then everything you do will be futile. As long as that poison master isn't dead, you won't die. Don't tell me you don't even know who made this poison? If that was the case, she would have to consider switching people. I do know that. He's the poison master in the clan, and has a very strange temper. He's not close to any of the sections. However, he stays in the clan all day long, so it's not easy to see him. Sima Yue heaved a sigh of relief. As long as we know who it is, as long as he's still alive, I'll be able to get you the antidote. Alright, let's talk about the Tao family's situation. He was just saying that she was the one who always led him astray. After figuring out the key problem, she just needed to listen to the rest of the information. However, the more she listened, the more shocked she became. Because these were almost exactly the same as what was recorded in the booklet she had read. What was Helmsman Tuo's identity? How could he get such information? Could it be? She suppressed the thoughts in her heart. Following her guess, she couldn't help but wonder what Helmsman Tuo's purpose was. She was afraid that she would come up with some horrible plan. She always believed that a stranger would not treat her well for no reason. After Tao Yixian finished speaking, he saw that Sima Yue only nodded and asked, You don't have anything else to ask? I've already asked everything I wanted to know. What you're saying now, I won't be able to use it in a short while. Sima Yue said. Take off your clothes. What? I said take off your clothes. Sima Yue repeated. Tao Yixian grabbed the front of his clothes and looked at her warily. What do you want to do? Seeing him like this, Sima Yue felt like she was in a mess. It was as if she had returned to the time when she had just met Fatty Chu. That guy had also looked at her warily. However, she was still dressed as a man at that time, and her reputation wasn't good. However, what was this guy trying to do now? She glared at Tao Yixian with a dark expression and said, What are you thinking? Take off your clothes and I'll give you a needle to stop the poison from invading your organs. Cough cough. Tao Yixian knew that he had misunderstood and his face turned red. Why did she have to be so flirtatious for no reason? However, he still obediently took off his clothes. Sima Yue walked over with the needle and saw that his back was covered in red dots. She furrowed her brows. It looks like your poison is deeper than I thought. Tao Yixian didn't say anything. He didn't know anything about poisons. He only heard her sigh behind his back before the needle pierced his body. When he saw how long the needle was, he thought that it would hurt a lot. He didn't think that it would only feel a little bloated. 2 hours later, Sima Yue put away the needle and said to him, "We have to go back as soon as possible. Your condition is worse than I thought. Even if we have to go back as soon as possible, you have to make arrangements first. It's best if you don't come with me in case I bring trouble to you," Tao Yixian said. "Let's talk about this later. We still have a few days anyway." Little Lucky hadn't returned yet, so they couldn't leave. Sima Yue's thoughts were actually very simple. Wasn't Tao Yixian unable to appear? Then he would just stay in the little realm. Once he was done with his business, she would let him out. However, she wouldn't say this method now. She still had to observe Tao Yixian for a while longer. "Right, what the hell is this Tang clan?" she asked. Tao Yixian raised his head. What the hell did she mean? Ahem. What I'm saying is, what's going on with the Tang clan? Sima Yue explained. The Tang clan and Guo clan are both small powers that rely on our clan. However, the Tang clan is currently hunting me down while the Guo clan is protecting me, Tao Yixian said. Who controls Tangjia? Tao Yixian shook his head. He really didn't know. He hadn't interacted much with powers like the Tang clan before and never thought that he would encounter a situation like this. Sima Yue understood with a single glance. Based on his usual situation, the Tao clan wouldn't let him interact too much with the powers below him. Then this Guo clan really isn't bad. She sighed. The Tang clan wasn't familiar with him, and the Guo clan wasn't familiar with him either. However, they had protected him and almost lost their lives in order to protect him. You seem to be quite familiar with them. Did you know each other before? Not really. Sima Yue told him about her encounter with the Guo clan. Then you're not bad either. Tao Yixian smiled. I've always been pretty good. Sima Yue praised herself without blushing at all. Tao Yixian couldn't tell that she was such a narcissistic person. Right, you said you wanted me to help you find someone. Who are you looking for? What are his characteristics? Where was he before he disappeared? It's too early to tell you this now. Wait until you've reclaimed the position of young master, Sima Yue said in a low voice. Why? Do you think that it's pointless to tell me before I have the strength? Tao Yixian asked in return. Sima Yue fell silent. That was indeed what she was thinking. The less people who knew about her master and the others, the less danger they would be in. If Tao Yixian didn't handle this matter well, he might leak the information later on and bring danger to her master and the others. Chapter 16:14. When Tao Yixian saw her like this, he knew he had guessed correctly. However, before he could say anything, Sima Yue said, If you want to know about other people's affairs, you must have the ability to do so. Otherwise, you will give others hope in vain, only to disappoint them in the end. With that, she got up and left. Tao Yixian looked at her back and fell into deep thought. After Sima Yue left the tent, she saw Guo Yinda interrogating the members of the Tang family. Hearing their voices, Tao Yixian also walked out. Guo Yinda saw Tao Yixian come out and bowed to him, saying, Young master, I didn't think that Tang Fei would be such a tough nut to crack. We've asked him for so long and still haven't gotten any answers. I think it's probably because he's under a lot of pressure from the top, so he doesn't dare to say what he knows. Doing these things behind the family's back is either for money or money. However, if it was such a simple goal, you should have gotten the answer you wanted. Sima Yue looked at Tang Fei, who was lying on the ground. He was already breathing out more than he was breathing in. You're saying there's another reason? Of course. Sima Yue said. If it were you, would you keep a secret for that person if it wasn't for the threat to your life? No. Guo Yinda shook his head. I'll find a chance to commit suicide. Sima Yue felt that they were not on the same level. He was an honest man, wasn't he? That person must have tied a knot in her head. That's why she's still clenching her teeth and refusing to say anything. In any case, he's going to die whether he tells us or not. If we protect the people behind him, we'll naturally be able to protect his family as well. Tao Yixian said. Sima Yue gave him a "you're pretty smart" look. Then what should we do? Guo Xian had been interrogating Tang Fei for the past 2 days. No matter what he did, Tang Fei just clenched his teeth and refused to speak. It was about to obliterate his confidence. Tao Yixian walked over and squatted next to Tang Fei to examine him, saying he's not poisoned. It looks like he wasn't controlled by poison. Then the most likely possibility is a seal was placed in his consciousness. If he dares to speak about that person, his body will explode and he will die. Doesn't that mean we won't be able to get any results? Guo Yinda said. Tao Yixian was also a little disappointed. If he could ask Tang Fei about the person behind this, he would at least be able to get some clues. But in this way, he had no clues at all. Haha. At this moment, Tang Fei laughed. He laughed very proudly. You're right. The higher-ups did place a seal in my sea of consciousness. As long as I feel even the slightest bit about myself, I won't be able to survive. Don't even think about getting any information. Ha 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 ha. You still want to take advantage of me. Guo Xian kicked him twice. Don't you want to die? I'll fulfill your wish. With that, he condensed his spiritual energy and attacked the heavenly gate. Wait. Sima Yue, who had been silent all this time, called out to him. Guo Xian's hand froze in midair in shock. Yue, what's wrong? You wouldn't be pleading for mercy for a dead person, right? Guo Xian looked at her disapprovingly. I don't have any relationship with him. Why would I plead for mercy? Sima Yue shrugged as she said. Then why are you stopping me? I want to tell you that even if you want to kill him, don't hit his head. Just hit his heart. If you break his head, he'll have nothing left. What was the difference between hitting the head and the heart? However, since she was the one who asked for it, he might as well give her some face. He used his spiritual energy to form a long sword and pierced it towards Tang Fei's heart. Before Tang Fei died, he glanced at Sima Yue. He didn't know why, but this woman gave him a very dangerous feeling. Especially that slight smile on her lips. Even if he died, he wouldn't be able to die in peace. Yue, what are you keeping his head for? Guo Yinda felt that Sima Yue wasn't someone who liked to play around. He definitely had his reasons for saying this. Sima Yue didn't answer him. She walked over and grabbed Tang Fei's body, sending her divine sense into his consciousness. His past flashed before her eyes like a movie. Once she got what she wanted to know, she threw the body to the ground. Then she conjured a flame and burned her hand for a while. Then, she threw the flame onto the body, burning it to nothing. What are you doing? Didn't you see? Sima Yue said. Although he's been sealed and can't say anything, he still has his memories. Since he's dead, the seal is naturally gone as well. Brain death is slower than physical death. So I took this opportunity to send my divine sense into his consciousness and find out what happened when he was alive. Why are you all looking at me like that? Ahem, how did you come up with this idea? Tao Yixian asked the question that was on everyone's mind. Speaking from experience, Sima Yue didn't want to say too much. Do you know someone called Tao Xianji? Is this person the one who ordered him? No. It's someone who went to the Tang clan a while ago. The person who ordered him was completely hidden in a black cloak, and even changed his voice. That's why he doesn't know who it is. However, he guesses that it should be Tao Xianji. Sima Yue explained. Tao Xianji is father's man. Tao Yixian's voice was bitter. He was probably feeling even worse. Sima Yue gave him a "you're so pitiful" look. If this guess was true, then wouldn't it mean that the person who killed him was his father? This is just a guess. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's just a coincidence. Guo Yinda didn't want to see him so disappointed and comforted him. I hope so. Although Tao Yixian said that, he didn't believe it in his heart. How could there be so many coincidences? Guo Yinda turned his pleading gaze to Sima Yue. Sima Yue pursed her lips but didn't say anything. She only wanted to help him return to the clan. She didn't want to be some kind of caring older sister. After a while, Tao Xian finally regained his composure and said to Sima Yue, "I'll have to trouble you with the others as well." Sima Yue wanted to say that there was no need. Those people didn't know what was going on at all. However, she swallowed her words back down. This guy looks so pitiful. It was better to find something for him to do. She wasn't the one who killed him anyway. She was just putting on an act. She could also see if there was any useful information in those people's minds. However, even after killing everyone, she didn't get any useful information. It looked like the people Tang Fei had brought with him weren't important people. Or rather, there weren't many people who knew about the assassination attempt on Tao Xian. This might even be an opportunity for him to return to the clan. If the entire clan did it with great fanfare, it would mean that he had been completely abandoned by the clan. From the looks of it now, his situation wasn't completely hopeless. Chapter 16-15. After that, Tao Xian called Guo Yinda and Guo Xian to his tent, and told them about his deal with Sima Yue. "Young master, are you really going to place your hopes in the hands of a little girl you just met?" Guo Xian furrowed his brows, feeling that this method was inappropriate. Sima Yue wasn't even as powerful as him. Could she let young master return to the clan? "Do you have a better idea?" Tao Xian asked. He really didn't. Don't think that Sima Yue is unreliable just because she's young. The way I see it, she's more reliable than the others. Tao Xian said. "Young master, you trust her that much?" "Yes, she's not very powerful. There are many people on this island who can crush her. However, when it comes to power, it's not just her cultivation. She has many helpers by her side. She'll definitely be able to surprise us," Tao Xian said confidently. At the very least, they didn't have enough face to get this old monster of Rabbit Ear Mountain to let them go. They didn't have any ancient spirit beasts by their side to protect her either. If my guess isn't wrong, the person who brought them in back then was none other than our island master, who's always idling around, Tao Xian guessed. It was the island master? On this island, was there anyone who could steal the helmsman's boat without anyone noticing? He asked. No. Although the helmsman was fat and had big ears, his power was real. Trying to steal his boat, wasn't that just asking for death? However, he has a good relationship with the island master, and they often drink together. I'm guessing that he must have gotten the helmsman drunk before he seized his boat and went out for a spin, Tao Xian said. Furthermore, isn't our island master's name Xiaogong? Helmsman Tua Xiaogong. These two names sound similar. However, isn't the island master called Tua Hongyu? Guo Xian said. That's the name he often uses. When he used to hide his identity and come out to play, he used the name Xiaogong. That's why many people know his name, Tao Xian explained. If it was someone from the island, they would have guessed his identity long ago. However, outsiders don't know that he has the name Xiaogong. That's true, Guo Yinda said. We all thought that it was a boatman with the surname Yun, but we didn't expect that it was young master who brought them here. This isn't about whether or not they're going to bring her over. It's just that the island master is clearly interested in them. Otherwise, he wouldn't have stepped forward to protect her. This was the real reason why Tao Xian was willing to cooperate with Sima Yue. Since the island master had taken a fancy to her, he would definitely not let her be in danger and not care about her. This way, even if he didn't survive, the Guo family would have a hard time in the future. Perhaps he really could cure the poison. She was so confident that even he believed her. While they were talking about Sima Yue was also talking about Tao Xian. Junior sister, are you really willing to make a deal with this little guy? Han Miaoshuang felt that the child looked too young and had no background. It would be easy for the family to kill him. Since I was the one who saved him, I think that he should be the opportunity that Yinlin was talking about. As long as we help him return to the family and do a good job as the young master, then he'll be the master and teacher Ge that we're looking for, Sima Yue said. But the situation he's facing is so serious. Won't our relationship with him waste a lot of time? It won't. If Inlin said that the opportunity is here, then it won't be wrong. Sima Yue said confidently. Also, I trust him. You trust him? He's able to make himself so miserable, which means that he doesn't have much power in the family. Even if he returns and becomes the patriarch, he probably won't have any real power. Han Miaoshuang analyzed. To be able to grow to his height in this kind of environment, it means that he has some brains and methods. This time he was only harmed by his adoptive father. Otherwise he wouldn't have ended up in such a state. If it were us, we might not be able to live until today. Sima Yue said, this kind of person, as long as he has the chance and time, he'll definitely be able to control the entire family. But what we lack now is time. Han Miaoshuang muttered softly. Don't worry, he won't disappoint us. Han Miaoshuang nodded. Sometimes she would feel strange. Why did little junior sister always give people the power to believe her? It was as if everything that happened to her wasn't a problem at all. If the same thing was said by someone else, she might not believe it. But when it came from her, she felt that it was definitely true. What do you plan to do next? Sima Xiuqi asked. His granddaughter was too opinionated. She made these old bones useless. Sigh, why weren't the others in the family like her? If this was the case, even without the things she brought back, the family would be able to rise quickly. It's actually very simple. Although there are people chasing after him, as long as he doesn't appear, we won't be in too much danger. Sima Yue said. It won't be too late for him to come out after we've settled things in Phoenix City. That's true. We didn't know the Guo family before. They won't think that we're in contact with him. Feng Zhixing said. Are you planning to put him in the little realm? Wouldn't that be too dangerous? If he knows about the little realm, what if he has evil thoughts? Su Xiaoxiao was worried. If he sees the people inside, he won't dare to have those thoughts. But Aunt Xiang and the others are enough to kill him. If we compare the power behind them, would the Tao family dare to compare with the Feng people? Sima Yue wasn't worried at all. If that was really the case, so what if they destroyed them? However, if we want to get in touch with the Tao family, we need a plan. We can't just act according to the situation. Sima Luxian said. I've already thought about it. Sima Yue said. When the time comes, we'll do this. After listening to Sima Yue's plan, the others looked at her disapprovingly. Although the beauty trap is good, that person is so powerful. If you don't have time to open the little realm, what if you're in danger? Huang Yingying disagreed. Her precious granddaughter. Even if those scum touched her, she couldn't let them. If you don't go to the little realm, go to the spirit pagoda. That way, I can come out with just a thought. Sima Yue said. Although she didn't want to agree, it seemed like there was no better way to enter the Tao family. No matter who they were trying to get close to, it was impossible for them to be invited as guests so quickly. So, there was nothing faster and more convenient than being forcefully taken to the Tao family. A few days later, the woman sent Xiaoxi back. This made Sima Yue's heart, which had been hanging in the air for the past few days, finally settle down. What she didn't expect was that Xiaoxi was reluctant to part with the female lead. He told her to come and see him in the future as she left. It seemed like he was doing well these few days. She had been worried for nothing. Chapter 16:16. Sima Yue lifted it by its tail and turned it upside down, making eye contact with it. If you're so reluctant, why don't you continue to stay here? We'll leave first. She snorted. Little Lucky immediately put away the reluctance in his eyes and put on a fawning expression. He beamed and said, Yu, what are you saying? Of course I'll follow you. I'm the one who can't bear to part with you. Fortunately, after such a long time, he finally stopped calling her mother. Sima Yue could not help but facepalm when she saw how obedient it was. How big was Little Roar's influence? Why were they all affected by it? Seeing that she didn't say anything, Little Lucky wagged his tail and hugged her hand. He rubbed himself against her hand and stared at her with his big eyes. Sima Yue gritted her teeth and spat out. It's shameful to act cute. Hee hee. Little she didn't care if it was shameful or not. As long as Yu wasn't angry, it was better than anything else. Sima Yue was not really angry in the first place. Seeing him like this, she stretched out her hand and poked his forehead, saying, "In the future, don't learn these crooked ways from Little Roar." That's right. Wasn't this move taught by Little Roar? Actually, what she didn't know was that Little Roar would teach this move to every new member. In his words, it was, "You this woman when she gets angry, she's very scary. But as long as you learn this move, you'll succeed every time." Who told her to be a little girl? If she knew about this, she would definitely stuff it into a crack in the ground and find something to suppress it for 100 years before letting it out. Hee. It was rare to see Sima Yue acting like a little girl. Everyone smiled knowingly. Cough cough. Sima Yue reacted and threw Little Lucky onto her shoulders. She said to everyone, "Now that Little Lucky is back, let's leave this place." At this time, Guinda walked out and cupped his hands towards them, saying, "Miss Yue, we are very grateful that you are willing to help young master. We are also very willing to work hard for you. But we can't go back yet. Look, can you guys leave first? We'll look for you later." "Is there anything else?" Guinda smiled wryly and said, "To tell you the truth, we came here this time to find 2,000-year-old medicinal ingredients." "What medicinal herbs are you looking for?" He didn't say anything specific. He only said that we have to hand over 2 types of medicinal herbs that are over 1,000 years old. Only then did we have the courage to enter this deep mountain. Guinda said. Sima Yue turned her head to look at Tao Yixian. He nodded. This was indeed the tax this year. If we don't hand it in, then I'm afraid our Guo clan will. So no matter what, we have to find 2 ingredients this time. Guinda said. You guys haven't found it yet, right? Sima Yue said. She knew that she had guessed correctly when she saw the Guo family's reaction. However, she couldn't leave them here, because she needed the Guo family to complete the rest of the plan. Should she give them 2 herbs that were more than 1,000 years old? Just say that he picked it up on the road? However, these people were also experts. If it was just unearthed, they would definitely be able to tell. Just as she was in a dilemma, Little Lucky reached his hand under his belly. Before Sima Yue could see where he was reaching, he pulled out 2 medicinal herbs and threw them towards Guinda. 1,000-year-old medicinal herbs. The Guo family recognized them at a glance. Little Lucky, where did you get these? Sima Yue asked. I got them from Auntie's place. She has a lot of these around her cave, so I pulled out a few to play with. Little Lucky replied, then said to Guinda and the others, I'll give these 2 to you guys. Hurry up and come with us. Thank you, thank you. The Guo family members cupped their hands in gratitude. If they stayed in the mountain to continue searching, who knows when they would meet with danger. Since the problem has been solved, then let's leave the mountain. Sima Yue said. Let's go. Tao Yixian spoke up as well. We'll just leave. If you follow us down the mountain, wouldn't that be telling everyone that we have something to do with you? Sima Yue said. But it's not good to let young master stay in the mountains alone, right? Guinda said with some difficulty. Sima Yue took out a little door and opened up her little realm, saying, Although my little realm is small, you can still live in it for a while. Once I've settled things, I'll let you out. Little realms weren't rare on this island, so they weren't too surprised. At most, they didn't think that someone like her would have such a thing. Tao Yixian understood what she was thinking and nodded, entering the little realm alone. He had thought that it was really a small little realm like Sima Yue had said, but he didn't think that what he saw after entering was a vast and boundless world. Furthermore, there was actually a city in this little realm. He was a little shocked. At this moment, someone came over and bowed to him, saying that he was the temporary manager of Bloodfiend City, and had received orders from Sima Yue to take care of him during this period of time. Bloodfiend City? That's right, this is Bloodfiend City. The manager brought him into the city, and because there weren't any inns here, he brought him to his own courtyard. As he walked, he explained the situation here to him. You're saying that the people here used to be from Bloodfiend City? Tao Yixian asked in shock. Back then, news of what happened in Bloodfiend City had spread to the island. After all, she was such a special existence. For her to disappear just like that was quite shocking. He didn't think that she was the one who did that, and even brought the people from Bloodfiend City here. The manager saw that he was interested and told him about what happened in Bloodfiend City back then with Sima Yue. The manager's eloquence wasn't bad, and he described what happened back then vividly. Tao Yixian could almost feel the dangerous situation back then, and the majestic scene after Sima Yue had summoned the lightning tribulation. Other than that, what surprised him was that Sima Yue was actually able to attract the heavenly tribulation. If she attracted the heavenly tribulation while fighting with someone, wouldn't that mean that the other party would have to go through the tribulation as well? Thus, the manager told him about what happened in the dark forest, and the shock in Tao Yixian's heart grew even stronger. She was actually able to kill hundreds of monarch-leveled cultivators as a divine-leveled cultivator. This wasn't a simple feat of winning against a large number of opponents or fighting against those of a higher rank. Don't look down on Lady Yue just because she's young. She's very capable. She said that she would help you take back the position of young master, so there's definitely no problem. After so many years, we've never seen anything that she couldn't do. The manager said with a chuckle. It's also because she's kind-hearted that she allowed us to stay here. Otherwise, we wouldn't have the peaceful days we have now. When they arrived at the manager's courtyard, the manager pointed to the courtyard to the side and said, "If you don't have anything to do, don't go to the side, all right? It won't be good if you disturb the people inside." Chapter 16-17. Tao Yixian glanced over. It was a very ordinary courtyard. There was nothing special about it. First message of love. Are the people who live there powerful as well? He asked. They are the Feng people's people, the supervisor replied. Do you know the Feng people? Tao Yixian's surprise had already turned into shock. She was related to the Feng people? Others might not know about the Feng people, but the people from the Lost Lands definitely knew about them. That was the only remaining god race. Although the island master was also a descendant of the god race, there were very few people in the Tuo family. The others were merely supporters of the god race. Therefore, the only true descendants of the god race were the Feng people. If the Feng people were willing to come here, the Tuo family wouldn't have the chance to be the island owner. Why are the people of Feng people here? It's like this. Yue has a good relationship with the lord of the Feng people. Yue recognized her as her aunt. What about Feng Ruyan? Let these people protect her. Tao Yixian's mouth twitched. People from the Feng people were going to be her bodyguards? He thought that she was just an ordinary outsider. He didn't expect her to have such a powerful background. The steward rambled on for a long time, and only left after settling him down. When he was alone, Tao Yixian laid on the bed, and began to think about his relationship with Sima Yue. It seemed that some things needed to be changed. However, he couldn't help but smile. The more powerful she was, the better it would be for him, right? Sima Yue did not pay attention to Tao Yixian's situation in the little world. The group of them left Rabbit Ear Mountain, and returned to the Guo family. In order to keep it a secret, Sima Yue asked Guinda to keep it a secret. Even the other members of the Guo family only said that they encountered a spiritual beast on Rabbit Ear Mountain, and were saved by Sima Yue at the critical moment. When the Guo family heard this, they knew that this was their savior, so they were treated very well in the Guo family. It had to be said that the Guo clan was full of honest people. Such a clan had actually not been eaten clean by others. Sure enough, it was as the saying goes, the shade under a big tree is the best. No wonder they were so loyal to the Guo family. After staying for a few days, Sima Yue followed Guinda and Guo Xian on their journey, and flew directly to Phoenix City. Because teleportation arrays were not encouraged here, there were not many teleportation arrays. Yue and the others had to queue for a long time to use the teleportation array. Moreover, the people on this island didn't seem to like to take other people's teleportation portals. The Guo family always took flying beasts, or their own teleportation portals. Sima Yue followed Guinda and Guo Xian on their journey while the rest were placed into the spirit pagoda. Guinda thought that they had gone to the little realm, so he didn't ask much. Sima Yue saw that they were not using the teleportation portal, and was happy to travel with them. She could enjoy the scenery of the island. Uncle Guo, won't we run into danger if we walk like this? For example, robbery, murder, and robbery. She asked curiously. With just the three of them, anyone who saw them would want to do something to them, right? Hehe, they won't. This place is under the protection of the Tao clan. As long as I say that we are going to pay tribute, no one will dare to touch us. If someone wants to kill us, no matter if they are under the Tao clan or not, they will be hunted down. Guainda said. Killing us is a small matter, but the Tao clan's reputation will be affected. I see. The Tao clan usually wouldn't care about the lives of these people, but once their reputation was affected, they wouldn't rest until they were dead. So even if the two clans were at each other's throats, the Tao clan wouldn't care. But once they said that they were going to pay tribute, wouldn't it be related to the Tao clan? No wonder the two of them dared to travel like this. Then what will you do when you come back? This time, we will be going to pay tribute for a period of time. Our clansmen will also go after a while. We'll just meet up with them then. If we go together now, the cost of accommodation will be a big problem. Guainda said a little embarrassedly. Sima Yue was startled. She knew that the Gua clan's situation wasn't good, but she didn't think that they would be in such dire straits that even the cost of accommodation would be a problem. However, when Tao Yixian ascended the throne, the Gua clan's days wouldn't be too bad just because they had risked their lives to protect them at Rabbit Ear Mountain. Just as they said, if anyone had any ideas about them, Guainda would say that they were going to pay tribute to the Tao clan. Those people really didn't do anything and let them pass smoothly. Half a month later, they arrived at Phoenix City. Sima Yue didn't think that it would be so close. No wonder they didn't want to use the array. Of course, she wouldn't expose the fact that they didn't use the teleportation array to save money. Although the Lost Lands isn't big, the relationship between the four cities isn't very good. In order to prevent other places from sending people over to cause trouble, they will be strictly checked. But we won't. When the time comes, just follow us, Guainda said to Sima Yue. All right. When they reached the city gates, she followed Guainda closely, but was still stopped. Old Gua, who is this person? The guard had a good relationship with Guainda, but he still stopped them. This is a friend I've met outside, Guainda said with a smile. You know that I've been outside before and got to know her. She's come in this time because she has some business. Someone from the outside. The guard furrowed his brows slightly. Old Gua, you don't know, but the situation has been tense recently. People from the Crimson Pearl Convention are not allowed to enter Phoenix City. Why? Guainda asked curiously. I don't know, it's orders from above. The guard also thought it was strange, but this wasn't something he could investigate. If it's just the Crimson Pearl Convention, don't worry. She's here to find me because she wants to find a medicinal ingredient that only we have here. She's not here to participate in the Crimson Pearl Convention, Guainda explained. Really? The guard didn't believe him. It's true. Big brother, you haven't seen anyone participate in the Crimson Pearl Convention alone, right? Sima Yue laughed. The guard thought about it and agreed. Who didn't come in groups? There really wasn't a single person who came to participate in the Crimson Pearl Convention. He waved his hand at them and said, Old Gua, we can still trust your Gua clan people. Let's go in. All right. Thank you for your trust. When we get back, we'll go to the tavern in the east of the city and have a good drink, Guainda said. All right. That's a promise. No problem. Just like that, Guainda easily brought her through the gates of Phoenix City. Only when that big incident happened in the future did the guard realize how big of a mistake he had made back then. Luckily by then no one had noticed that he was on duty that day. They entered the city gates and went to the place where they used to live. It was a very small inn, but it looked very clean. The Gua clan was really a bit pitiful. Stop show 7. Chapter 16-18. After entering Phoenix City, Sima Yue's plan was slowly being implemented. The next morning, she, Guainda and Gua Xian went to a very spectacular pavilion in the center of the city. As soon as he entered, he realized that this was not a shop for business. Although there were a lot of things here, there was only one person guarding inside. There was not a single customer. When the person inside saw Guainda, he said faintly, I thought your Gua family wouldn't come this year. How could that be? The clan's offerings still have to be handed over on time. Gua Inda smiled and took out the 2 medicinal ingredients, saying, "These are our offerings this year." That person didn't think that Gua Inda would really take out something. He opened the box and saw that there were indeed 2 medicinal herbs that were over 1,000 years old. He said with some surprise, "Didn't you say that you didn't get anything good this year? Where did these come from?" "Some time ago, we went to Rabbit Ear Mountain and went deep into the mountains. He was lucky enough to get these 2 items. However, they had also lost quite a few people." Gua Inda let out a long sigh. He wasn't lying. A few people did die at that time, but they didn't die because they were looking for herbs. They were killed by the Tang family. The steward didn't make things difficult for them. After registering their items, the offering was complete. "All right, you can leave now. Don't forget to attend the clan meeting in 10 days. The steward waved his hand at them, not wanting to waste any more time. Gua Inda cupped his fists at him, turned around and left with Sima Yuyu. Just as they reached the door, a cold voice came from behind them. "Oh right, I heard that Tang Fei also brought some people to Rabbit Ear Mountain. Did you guys meet him?" "Tang Fei went too. I've never met one before," Gua Inda said in surprise. The steward glanced at him, lowered his head, and didn't say anything else. They also left the place. When they arrived at the main street, it was already past noon. Gua Inda said to Gua Xian, "This is Yoyue's first time here. Take her to walk around the city and see if there are any herbs that she needs. Then go back directly. I'm going to look for them to catch up and have a drink." "All right." After Gua Inda left, Sima Yue smiled at Gua Xian and said, "Big brother Gua, I'll have to trouble you." "What's so troublesome about that? Let's go. I'll take you to the pharmacy to have a look," Gua Xian said. Yes. Sima Yue followed Gua Xian and left. After turning 2 streets, they arrived at a medicine shop. She mentioned a kind of medicinal herb called silver watergrass. She had specially asked Gua Indao about it. It was a very rare medicinal herb that could only be found on the Lost Island. Especially when she said that she wanted a 200-year-old one, it was even rarer. The shopkeeper directly told her that there was none here, and told them to go somewhere else. They had no choice but to go to other pharmacies. However, even if there were silver watergrass at the back, their maturity wasn't high enough. After walking around for an entire afternoon, Zhang Xian didn't manage to find anything. When they returned to the inn, Gua Xian said to Yue, "Someone was watching us when we were shopping today. I just don't know if he's the one we're looking for." Sima Yue felt like she was being watched the whole afternoon. "What if he's not? Of course we won't go." Sima Yue smiled. "Other than that person, no one else can think of leaving with them." "All right then. Have a good rest. We'll continue shopping tomorrow. There are still many pharmacies in Phoenix City," Gua Xian said. "Today we went to random pharmacies. Tomorrow we'll go to the one under the Tao family," Sima Yue said. This was the only way to catch the bait faster. Gua Inda did not return that night. Gua Xian said that he would do this every time, so he did not bother about him. The next morning, they continued their journey to the pharmacy to ask about the medicinal herbs. They went to the biggest pharmacy. Although it was still early, it was already packed with people. Sima Yue felt that someone was looking at her the moment she entered. However, she did not care. Instead, she went to the counter and asked a shop assistant, "Excuse me, do you have silver watergrass that is more than 200 years old?" "Silver watergrass that is more than 200 years old? I think we do," the shop assistant said. "Really?" Sima Yue was excited. "Then I'll buy it." "Dear customer, don't be anxious. This medicinal herb is a little rare. I'll have to look at the records," the shop assistant said. "All right. Please wait here for a moment," the shop assistant said and flipped through the records. Sima Yue and the rest waited for a while. The shop assistant came over and said, "Dear customer, you're in luck. We only have one left. Let me tell you, if we don't have it here, then it's impossible for other places to have it. Therefore, this might be the last 200 years silver watergrass." "Then I'm in luck," Sima Yue smiled. Because it's 200 years old, the price is a little high. The price is not a problem. As long as you have the medicinal herb. Sima Yue said generously. Dear customer, please wait for a moment. After all, the important medicinal herbs are placed at the back. I'll go get it for you. All right. Sorry to trouble you. The shop assistant went to the back. Just as he entered, he was stopped by someone. Second master wants you to go over. The person said. The shop assistant was stunned. He immediately followed the person and went to a room on the second floor. Greetings, second master. The guard knelt down and bowed. The woman you served just now. What did she want? Second master asked. Second master, she wanted a 200 years old silver watergrass. The shop assistant replied. Do you have it in the shop? There's only one left. Get someone to send it over. Second master ordered. This. The shop assistant was stunned. However, he quickly reacted. Thinking of second master's lecherous personality, he lowered his eyes and replied, I know what to do. Sima Yue waited in the shop for a while before the shop assistant came out with a guilty expression. I'm really sorry. I just went to the back to take a look. The last silver watergrass was moved over by the family this morning. You mean there's no more? Yes. If you came yesterday, there would still be some left. However, there's none left now. I'm really sorry. The shop assistant said apologetically. Her excited little face immediately fell. Seeing the shop assistant nodding and bowing to her apologetically, she waved her hand at him and said, It's not your fault. Since you don't have it here, I'll go somewhere else to take a look. I just said that this silver watergrass is too rare. If we don't have it here, the other pharmacies won't have it either. The shop assistant said. I know. However, I still want to try my luck. After speaking, she turned around and left. Her little face was filled with disappointment. When she reached the main street, she said to Gua Xian, Brother Gua, I know you're worried about Uncle Gua. You should go and find him. I'll walk around by myself. Gua Xian was indeed worried about Guinda. Since she said so, he didn't decline and left by himself. Sima Yue was walking alone on the street. She could feel someone following behind her, and the corner of her mouth hooked up into a smile. Chapter 16-19. Half an hour later, Sima Yue took a step back in fear when she saw the person standing in front of her. Who are you? Miss, my family's second master would like to see you. The man pulled a long face, looking very scary. Who is your second master? I don't know him. I'm not going. Sima Yue said and walked around him, wanting to leave the alley. That man's body swayed and blocked her path again, saying, Miss, my family's second master said that he has silver watergrass in his hands. 10 minutes later, Sima Yue stood in front of second master Tao. This second master Tao looked decent, but his eyes that were sizing her up made her very uncomfortable. Sima Yue was embarrassed by his stare and asked, Do you have a 200-year-old silver water plant? Her slender waist caused his waiter to raise his head. Especially that pair of pure eyes. She must have been well protected by her family in the past. From top to bottom, from beginning to end, every part was his cup of tea. What's your name? He asked instead of answering. My name is Sima Yue, Sima Yue replied. Are you an outsider? Okay. Sima Yue nodded. Why did you come here? Are you participating in the Crimson Pearl Convention? No, that's not it. Then why? My father was severely injured by someone. The doctor's prescription contains a very important medicinal ingredient, the silver watergrass that is more than 200 years old. I heard that it can only be found in the lost place, so I secretly came here. Sima Yue answered honestly. Why do you have to do it secretly? Because my mother said that the lost lands is very dangerous, and once you come here, you can't go back. He said that he would send someone else. I was worried about my father, so I came here secretly. So you're saying that your family doesn't know that you're here? Sima Yue shook her head. Second Master Tao's fingers tapped on the table. Sima Yue felt that his actions were very eye-catching. Ling Yu loved to do this action the most. He looked good when he did it, But this person's hand was really ugly and the action was also ugly. You've been looking for medicinal ingredients since you came here? He continued to ask. Yes. Then I met Uncle Gua. Of me? He heard. And there were some yesterday, but not today. You have a good relationship with the Gua clan? Second Master Tao asked slowly. They. And they. But although I'm grateful to them, I'm not close with them. Sima Yue said. I've already answered so many of your questions. Do you really have the silver water grass? Second Master Tao looked at Sima Yue's innocent eyes, and his lips curled into a smile. She wanted to guard against others, but she told her trump card to a stranger so easily. This person was so innocent in the past. I do have the silver water grass that you want. Really? Then are you willing to give it to me? I'm willing to buy it at a high price. Sima Yue said happily. Second Master Tao stared at her and said, Do you know who I am? Sima Yue shook her head. Even if she knew, she wouldn't say it. I'm the second master of the Tao family. Sima Yue blinked. Her eyes were clearly saying, Is this identity very powerful? The head of the Tao family is my second brother. Second Master Tao said. Wah, then aren't you very powerful? Sima Yue finally reacted. Second Master Tao, since you have such a high status, then you definitely don't care about this little bit of medicinal herbs, right? I'm really willing to buy it at a high price. I have a lot of spirit stones. Seeing her careful appearance, Second Master Tao was very pleased. He smiled and said, Do you think I lack spirit stones? Sima Yue was troubled. You really shouldn't lack spirit stones. Why don't you give me that medicinal herb? I'll definitely remember your great kindness. Give. No, I never give things away. At most, I'll exchange. Exchange. Sima Yue was stunned. Second Master Tao, you have a high status. I'm afraid that the things I have here won't catch your eye. As she spoke, she took out some medicinal herbs and rare ores and looked at him eagerly. These are my most precious things. Take a look. Which one can exchange with you? Second Master Tao casually glanced at the things she took out and frowned slightly. These things really don't have much value. Sima Yue's face was instantly filled with disappointment. As expected. But it's not like you don't have anything to exchange. Second Master Tao said. Really? I wonder what Second Master Tao likes. Her little face immediately brightened up as she looked at him with a smile. Second Master Tao didn't say anything and only looked straight at her. Sima Yue's smile slowly froze. She took a step back and said, Yu, why are you looking at me like that? Little girl, you should be a smart person. Second Master Tao had already asked about her family background. She was just a little girl that no one knew. Wouldn't he be able to do whatever he wanted to her? You want. Sima Yue was shocked. She took a few steps back and arrived at the door. What do you think of this exchange? If you follow me, I'll give you the silver water grass and a lifetime of wealth. How about it? As he spoke, he took out a box and placed it in front of her. He opened it and let the box face her. Sima Yue saw the medicine lying inside, and a look of struggle flashed across her eyes. As long as you agree, this silver water grass is yours. I can even send a doctor to treat your father. Your family can also be under the wings of my Tao family. Second Master Tao said slowly, his voice filled with bewitchment. Sima Yue's brows were tightly knitted. She wanted to save her father, but she didn't want to agree to his conditions. Second Master Tao didn't say anything else and only looked at her struggle with interest. After a while, Sima Yue finally opened her mouth. I'm sorry, I can't agree to this condition of yours. Why? Second Master Tao wasn't surprised. Don't you want to save your father? Could it be that you don't want the silver water grass? I do, but I still can't agree to it. If my father knew that this medicine was obtained from here, he wouldn't be able to take it. Sima Yue said. Second Master Tao, can you give me another condition? Then I can only look for it in other places. Sima Yue finished speaking and prepared to leave. However, when she opened the door, she saw 2 guards standing at the door, staring at her emotionlessly. Chapter 1620. Sima Yue tried to push them, but she couldn't. Out of the way, she said, glaring at them. Hehe. Without my orders they won't move. Second Master Tao's laughter came from behind. Sima Yue turned around and looked at him. What do you want? My meaning is very clear and very simple. Second Master Tao shrugged. I don't want this silver water grass anymore. Let me go. Sima Yue panicked. Do you think you can still leave now that you're here? This is a tea house. As long as I shout, it will attract the attention of others, and your reputation will be ruined. After all, the Tao family is not the only family in Phoenix City. Sima Yue shouted. Oh, are you threatening me? Second Master Tao laughed loudly. Reputation? Do you know what kind of reputation Second Master Tao has in Phoenix City? If you want to shout, you can shout. In any case, who in the entire Phoenix City doesn't know what kind of person I am? Even if I snatch you back, they will only add another stroke to my reputation. You. Sima Yue was obviously shocked by his words. Alright, I still have things to do today. I don't have time to play with you. Today, whether you agree or not, you have to agree. Second Master Tao changed to threats. Don't even think about it. Sima Yue said as she attacked the guards at the door. She was quickly subdued. Seeing Second Master Tao walk over, she angrily shouted, I won't let you have your way. After saying that, she mobilized the spiritual energy in her body and prepared to self-destruct. Don't even think about it. Second Master Tao didn't expect her temper to be so fierce. With a loud shout, he flashed behind her and forcefully chopped at her neck. Sima Yue went limp. Before she fainted, Sima Yue heard his last words. He said that she was a fierce little wild cat and that he would definitely tame her. The red plum blossom in her hand darkened, but in the end it fell silent. Second Master. The people at the door did not think that Sima Yue would self-destruct. By the time they reacted, she was already in his arms. Let's return to the clan first and settle her down. Second Master Tao hugged the person in his arms. He was in a good mood and decided to personally bring the beauty back. Stupid woman, stupid woman. Sima Yue felt someone shaking her. She slowly woke up and saw a miniature version of herself when she opened her eyes. Mier, why did you come out? She rubbed her neck. It really hurt. Didn't you say that I would wake you up when we reached the Tao family? Mier squatted on the edge of the bed and poked her stomach. Oh yes. I can't remember. Sima Yue recalled that she was the one who gave the order. Stupid woman, you've gone too far. Why did you stop me? Mier said angrily. Do you know that if something really happens, I'll die with you? I'm here on official business. If you do something, how am I supposed to do it? Sima Yue sat up and looked at the face that was similar to hers. She stretched out a hand and rubbed his hair. Don't worry, I won't joke around with my life. I know you're worried about me. She had so many lives on her body. How could she die so easily? Humph. Who's worried about you? Mier jumped down from the bed. What are we going to do next? It's me, not us. Sima Yue looked at Mier deeply. That gaze made his heart tremble as he asked. What bad things are you thinking of now? What bad things? Sima Yue said. I just have something for you to do. I refuse. One look and I can tell that you're up to no good. I'm not. Sima Yue beamed. I just want you to do me a favor. What? It's very simple. Pretend to be me and stay here. You don't have to do anything else. Don't even think about it. Mier jumped up. Don't expect me to deal with that disgusting fellow for you. But I need to go and investigate. I can only rely on you here. I don't want to. Go look for Thousand Resonance. He can pretend to be you too. Mier refused to agree. If that person came back in the middle, wouldn't he have to pretend to be obedient to her? Thousand Resonance wants to be with me. He can't stay here. Sima Yue said. Don't worry. I'll set up an illusion array later. As long as he comes in, he will enter the illusion. Isn't that it? Use the illusion array to deal with him. But this illusion array can't be without you. If not, it won't work. Sima Yue explained patiently. If the person in the illusion array wants to say something, you have to say it. and when they're outside, if they don't sense my presence, they won't be tricked. Me if you don't help me with this, it'll be more troublesome for me. You really won't meet me? Me-er's gaze was filled with suspicion. He really felt that this woman would sell him out. Really? Do you want me to swear to the heavens? Sima Yue stared at him helplessly. She wondered why she had such little trust in him. If he dares to touch me, I'll kill him, Me-er said, filled with killing intent. However, it was also an indirect agreement. All right, up to you, Sima Yue said. But don't worry. According to what Tao Yixian said, Second Master Tao doesn't like to force himself on you. So as long as you don't agree, he won't do anything to you. That better be the case, Me-er harumphed. If I stay here, what are you going to do? I'm going to find the poison master that Tao Yixian mentioned and find the antidote, Sima Yue said. However, I need to find someone to scout ahead first. Come back soon. I'll only help you for 2 days. If you can't handle it, I won't care. 2 days is too short. Then 1 day it is. Me-er, you can't do this. You better hurry, Sima Yue sighed. She set up an illusion array in the house and watched as Me-er transformed into her. She called out for 1,000 resonance to fuse with him. She then opened the door and swaggered out. Once she disappeared from the courtyard, the guard guarding the door then muttered, "Why did I feel like I was a little distracted just now? What about you? How could that be? Haven't we always been like this?" The other said, "The girl that Second Master brought back this time is very decent. It's a pity that she won't live for long." "Shut up. Is Second Master someone that we dare to talk about? Be careful that Second Master doesn't feed you to the wolves." That person was clearly frightened as he nodded without saying a word. They glanced into the house and sensed that Sima Yue was still inside. They all sighed in their hearts. It was a pity that Second Master Tao had seen her. They were afraid that her future days would be difficult. However, Second Master wasn't someone that they could go against. They could only say that she was another pitiful woman. Chapter 16:21. Love. After Sima Yue left the courtyard, she transformed into a maidservant and carried a plate of spirit fruits. She followed the path that Tao Yixian had told her and headed towards the poison master. Along the way, they met several patrols. When those patrols saw the spirit fruits in her hands, they felt thirsty and reached out to take the spirit fruits. She took a step back and bowed towards them. She smiled and said, "Big brothers, this spirit fruit was ordered by the patriarch for this servant to deliver to Great Master Ji." The guard's hand froze in midair. Who doesn't know that Great Master Ji likes to eat spirit fruits? Who would dare to touch his things? He was afraid that even if he had the life to take it, he wouldn't have the life to eat it. Since it's for Great Master Ji, then go quickly. The head guard waved his hand at her without any suspicion. "Thank you, brothers." Sima Yue bowed again and left with the spirit fruit. Sima Yue walked for half a day before arriving at a very remote courtyard. She thought about how Tao Yixian had said that Great Master Ji was a loner and didn't like to interact with others. Even if that was the case, there was no need for him to live so far away, right? She knocked on the door of the courtyard and said, "Great Master Ji, this servant is here to deliver the spirit fruit under the orders of the family head." After waiting for a while, the door to the courtyard opened. A small child stood behind the door and looked at her coldly. "Master said that today's spirit fruits are here. Why are they here again?" The child's voice was still childish, but his tone was not friendly. "It's like this. These spirit fruits were consecrated by the subordinates. They said that they were found deep in the mountains. The family had thought that Great Master Ji had never eaten it before, so he asked the servant to send some over. If Great Master Ji thinks it's delicious, I'll get them to bring more over." Sima Yue made up a story. "Then give it to me," the child said as he reached out to take it. Sima Yue handed the water to him and said, "The family head said that he has a few words for this servant to tell Great Master Ji. Come with me then." The child turned around and Sima Yue closed the door after entering the room. At this moment, Great Master Ji was studying the poisonous grass. He couldn't find the purest essence after mentioning it a few times. He was feeling frustrated. At this time, his little disciple came in with a maidservant. "What's the matter?" he asked with a sullen expression. "Great Master Ji." Sima Yue bowed to her. Today, the servants below offered some fresh spiritual fruits. Master ordered this servant to bring some over for you to try. He said that if you like it, they can offer you more in the future. Great Master Ji looked at the tray his little disciple had placed on the table. There were indeed two types of spirit fruits that he had never seen before. One was emerald green while the other was rosy. They both looked tender and sweet. However, he was currently in an irritable mood, so how could he be in the mood to eat fruits? He said impatiently, "This old man is not in the mood to eat right now. I'll tell you after I've tasted it. You can leave now." Sima Yue was not willing to leave. She lowered her head and said, "Great Master Ji, Patriarch said that he is waiting for your news. Great Master Ji, please understand family head's feelings." Great Master Ji knew that every time Patriarch sent a new fruit over, he would tell him the results. If it was delicious, he would try his best to find it. He picked up a red spiritual fruit. This spiritual fruit was small and rosy. It looked a little like a cherry, but it smelled more fragrant than a cherry. He put it in his mouth, and the fruit melted in his mouth. The mellow taste spread from his mouth to his heart. Once he started eating, he couldn't stop. He only stopped when he had finished all the red fruits. "What fruit is this?" he asked. "This is called the heartless fruit." Sima Yue replied. "Yes. Heartless fruit. Yes, it has another name. It's called the life-reaping fruit. Where is there a spiritual fruit with this name?" He did not know why, but when he heard this name, his heart suddenly tightened. "Of course there is. Because this is the name I gave it." Sima Yue smiled. Great Master Ji felt that something was amiss. He wanted to say something, but suddenly felt a pain in his chest. Something was wrong with his body. He went forward to grab Sima Yue, but the latter teleported and appeared on the other side of the room. "Who are you? How could a servant in the family have such skills? How would she dare to do such a thing to him?" Sima Yue bowed and said, "I'm just a small servant in the residence." "Humph, I didn't know that there was a servant like you in the residence," Great Master Ji said and attacked Sima Yue, but she dodged again. "Great Master Ji, if I were you, I wouldn't be angry right now and wouldn't use my spiritual energy," Sima Yue reminded him. Great Master Ji stared at her coldly, like a venomous snake looking at a prey that was destined to die. A prey that made him angry. He felt a wave of weakness in his body, and sat on the chair for a while before he felt better. He was all too familiar with this feeling. "You poisoned me. How did you do it?" He calmed down. Since the other party did not poison him and stayed here, it was obvious that she had something to tell him. He never thought that there would be a day when he would be pecked in the eye. "You ate it yourself," Sima Yue said with a smile. "I ate it. Why didn't I sense the smell of poison?" He did not believe it. He was a master of poisons and poisons could not hide from him, much less eat it. Those so-called colorless and tasteless poisons were the same. Sima Yue moved a chair to her side and sat down saying, "I didn't say that this poison was colorless and tasteless." "What?" "I used some methods to make this poison taste like the heartless fruit." Great Master Ji was stunned. She made it taste like the heartless fruit. It was his first time eating this kind of spiritual fruit, and he thought that it tasted like a spiritual fruit. He never thought that there would be poison in it. The poison was on the outside of the spiritual fruit, and he ate it just like that. He never thought that he would fall for it so easily. "What are you trying to do?" he asked. "Great Master Ji, don't you want to take a look at the poison in your body?" Sima Yue asked. "Humph, since you didn't take my life immediately, I naturally have time to study the antidote for this poison. What I'm more curious about is, why did you poison me?" Great Master Ji said confidently. There were only a few poisons that could make his body weak and block his spiritual power. These were all things that he could not play with. Everyone says that Great Master Ji's poison skills are high, so it's normal for you to think that way. Sima Yue leaned on the chair. "However, I think that it's better for you to take a look at the poison in your body." Great Master Ji saw that she was so confident and felt that she was still too young and did not understand him well enough to think that she could control him. However, since she said so, there was no harm in him checking himself first. Unexpectedly, after this check, his face instantly became very ugly, and a wave of hostility burst forth. Chapter 1622. Love. Great Master Ji finally stopped looking down on Sima Yue. The way he stared at her changed again and again. Finally, he suppressed his anger. Who are you? How could he concoct such a poison? The 100 insects and 100 herbs poison isn't a difficult poison. There's no need for Great Master Ji to be so surprised, right? Sima Yue said. As for who I am, Great Master Ji doesn't have to care. I don't have any direct conflict with you. I just want to make a deal with you. Great Master Ji had already guessed it, and was not surprised. He asked, what kind of deal? Since we both have the poison and the antidote, why don't we exchange the antidote? You want the antidote for the 100 insects and 100 herbs poison? You're one of young master's men? Great Master Ji immediately understood her motive. I'm not one of your young master's men. I just happened to know him and made a deal with him, Sima Yue said. You really like to trade with others, Great Master Ji mocked. Thank you for the compliment. Great Master Ji wanted to shout. I'm not praising you. I don't have the antidote. The antidote was taken away by the Patriarch. He said, Patriarch? What is he going to do with the antidote? Sima Yue was surprised. How would I know? Great Master Ji scoffed. It's all right since the antidote is gone. You can refine another one. Sima Yue said. I know, you must have left the recipe for this pill. Master Ji instinctively wanted to say no, but he realized that there was no point in saying that in front of her. I don't have that many herbs, he said. The clan head knows what kind of herbs are needed for the antidote. Once I use the herbs, the clan head will know. I think you don't want him to know, right? It's okay, I have the herbs, Sima Yue said. Show me the prescription and I'll know. Show her the formula? Great Master Ji was unwilling. Think about it carefully. Sima Yue did not force him. She stood up and walked around the room. When she saw the poison and the extracted essence on the table, she smiled. Was he having a headache because of this? No wonder he looked so angry when she came in. She condensed a flame and formed a small cauldron. Then she picked up the medicinal herb on the table and threw it in. What are you doing? Great Master Ji roared. Did she know how precious and difficult it was to extract this medicinal herb? So casually, his anger was quickly replaced by surprise. He didn't expect that not only did she not burn the herbs, she even started to condense liquid at the roots of the herbs. Was she refining? Thinking of this, he calmed down and watched her extract. Sima Yue ignored him and focused all her attention on refining. Very quickly, that stalk of medicine turned into a ball of emerald green liquid and a ball of residue. She picked up the jade bowl on the table and put the extracted essence into it. Then, with a wave of her hand, the flames and residue disappeared. Let me see. Great Master Ji ran over and snatched the jade bowl away. Seeing the emerald green essence inside, which was many times purer than what he had extracted, he looked at her in agitation. How did you do it? That's how I did it. It's just a small matter, Sima Yue said confidently. Great Master Ji wanted to say how was it a small matter? But then he remembered that she really did it casually. To her it was indeed a small matter. He didn't expect this young lady to be such an expert. Previously, he guessed that the 100 worms and 100 herbs were not refined by her. But after this incident, he realized that she was really a poison expert. Young lady, let's discuss this properly. It's not impossible for you to have my antidote, but you have to tell me how to extract it. No, you have to stay here and discuss poison with me, Great Master Ji said agitatedly. Sima Yue looked at him strangely. Wasn't his change of heart too fast? You said that the antidote was taken away by the master, she said. I can refine it again. You said that you don't have the herbs. I can go and get them. You said that the master knows the ingredients of the antidote. If you take the herbs, You will be discovered. I still have most of the herbs here, but I'm missing a few key ones. If I only take those, I can say that I'm researching on the others if the master asks. Sima Yue stared at him, trying to determine if he was telling the truth. Great Master Ji took out the 100 worms and 100 herbs formula and said, "These are my 100 worms and 100 herbs. You should believe my sincerity after seeing it." Sima Yue took the formula and looked at it. She was sure that most of the poisonous worms and herbs were similar to the ones in this formula. She knew that it should be true. Seeing that she didn't speak, Great Master Ji said again, "I swear, it's definitely this one." Sima Yue threw the formula back to him and said, "I can tell you if you want, but you can't tell anyone my identity while I'm here. I won't give you the antidote until I leave." "When are you leaving?" "I'll leave after watching your clan's competition. Don't worry, it'll only be a few days. I won't take your life," Sima Yue said. "You're leaving so soon. Can't you stay a little longer?" Great Master Ji called out. Sima Yue saw how reluctant he was and was stunned. "I still have things to do, but I'll definitely teach you how to refine it in the next few days." "All right then." Great Master Ji agreed unwillingly. Sima Yue walked to the child's side. He had fainted when she first moved. She took out the antidote and waved it under his nose. He slowly woke up. "Master, what's wrong?" The child was a little dizzy. "Nothing much. I have something to discuss with her. You can go do your thing. Don't tell anyone about what happened today." "You can't tell anyone that there's an extra person in my courtyard," Great Master Ji said. Although the child was a little confused, he didn't dare to disobey his master's orders and left obediently. His master's words were always right. "Miss Yue, look where now." Great Master Ji really wanted her to teach him, but it didn't seem likely at the moment. "What's the point of looking at me? You don't even have the herbs here. Even if I were to explain it to you, you wouldn't have anything to practice with." Sima Yue said, "I'll go to the medicinal hall now and personally ask for the missing herbs. Also bring a few stalks of this over." Great Master Ji said and left. Sima Yue stayed in the courtyard and let the child bring her to choose a bedroom. After the child left, she released some scarlet bees. Although she believed that Great Master Ji wouldn't harm her, it was still better to be safe. At this moment, the scarlet bees that were left at Mi-er's side sent news that Second Master Tao was back. Sima Yue asked them to keep a close eye on him. She was curious how Mi-er would deal with Second Master Tao. Chapter 1623. Love. In fact, other than being curious, she was also a little worried. What if Mi-er killed him? Now that Second Master Tao had died, it would definitely cause chaos in the family. It wouldn't be good for them. Fortunately, although Mi-er was arrogant, he knew that this matter was very important to her. He didn't act according to his character, and didn't kick him out or kill him directly. When Sima Yue heard this, she was slightly relieved. She thought to herself that Mi-er still knew what was important. On the other hand, Mi-er resisted the impulse in his heart, and desperately wanted to throw the people in the house out. "I say, little girl, have you made up your mind? If you miss this village, you won't have this shop anymore. After 2 days, I will use this silver water grass. At that time, even if you want it, you won't have it anymore," Second Master Tao said energetically to the empty bed. Mi-er sat on the soft couch at the side and snorted. "I won't agree to it. You better let me go. My Sima family is not to be trifled with." "Are you threatening me?" Second Master Tao was amused. "Humph. Don't think that I don't know that you never intended to give me the silver water plant from the start. Even if I agreed, I would still be imprisoned here forever. I'd rather die than be with an old pervert like you." Mi-er shouted. Second Master Tao entered an illusion the moment he entered the room. So what appeared in front of him was a furious person sitting on the bed. Seeing her pursing her lips and frowning, his anger was ignited again. He walked to the side of the bed, and the person on the bed fell backwards. She was trapped in a small space by him. What do you want to do?" "You might not know this, but I've never forced anyone to do anything. Although I admit that the way you resisted was very tempting, and it also aroused my interest. But I prefer obedient kittens." Second Master Tao said. I won't agree to it. Give it up, said Mill. Really? Could it be that the two people guarding the door didn't tell you that if you don't agree, your end will be even worse? Second Master Tao kissed her face. Oh, the texture was really good. Sima Yoyue's face turned pale from fright. Haha. Think about it carefully. I don't have much patience. Second Master Tao laughed loudly and left. Mi-er heaved a sigh of relief. Fortunately, this Tao fellow didn't really do anything disgusting. Otherwise, even if he was defiling someone who didn't exist in the illusion, he was afraid that he wouldn't be able to control himself. Even if it was fake, he couldn't allow himself to have any dirty thoughts about Yue. Sima Yue sensed Mi-er's thoughts and smiled. This fellow. Looks like I have to find something for Second Master Tao to do so that he doesn't have to look for Mi-er all the time. However, she had just arrived at this place and didn't have any connections or understand the situation. She only knew that Second Master Tao liked beauties. Beauty. She suddenly thought of something and smiled unscrupulously. She sent a message to Mi-er, saying that she would find something for Second Master Tao to do. That night, a portrait passed through the hands of several people and arrived in front of Second Master Tao. Looking at the portrait that looked like a real person, Second Master Tao felt like he couldn't breathe. Is there really such a beautiful person in this world? He asked the guard beside him. Second Master, we've already investigated thoroughly. This person really does exist. But what? But this isn't a human. It's just a spirit beast transformation. That guard replied. Spirit beast transformation? Second Master Tao's voice was obviously more interested than angry. Yes. The guard knelt on the ground and wondered if Second Master's taste was so weird. Spirit beast, I really haven't tasted one. Second Master Tao chuckled. Do you know who this person is? Where is she? She's at Rabbit Ear Mountain. The guard replied. Rabbit Ear Mountain? Then let's go to Rabbit Ear Mountain and take a look. Second Master, the clan's assessment will be held in a few days. If something happens before the assessment, why don't we go after the assessment? The guard tried to persuade him. Am I the master or are you the master? Second Master Tao kicked him. Hurry up and prepare the transportation array for me. It wouldn't take long. They could only rush back by using the transportation array. The guard groaned in his heart and got up to leave. Sima Yue received news from Qi Feng that Second Master Tao went to Rabbit Ear Mountain that night. She didn't know if he could come back alive. Since he wasn't around, Mi-er wanted to come back. Sima Yue thought that other than the two guards, there was no one else who knew about what happened to her. Hence, she asked him to clean up the two guards and come back secretly. Mi-er was elated when he heard that. After destroying the corpses, he went to Sima Yoyue's place under the cover of the night. Just as Mi-er returned to Yoyue's hand, she heard a knock on the door. Yue, I've refined the antidote. Great Master Ji was waiting outside the door. Sima Yue opened the door to let him in. He immediately handed over the antidote and said, This is the antidote for young master's 100 worms and 100 herbs. Is this for real? Of course it's for real. Great Master Ji blew his beard and glared. He wanted to get angry, but he didn't dare to in front of her. He chuckled and said, Don't worry, my little life is still in your hands. I also want to ask you to teach me something. I'll believe you this once. Sima Yue opened her little realm and let Tao Yixian out. When he saw Tao Yixian, Great Master Ji's expression changed a few times. In the end, he didn't say anything and didn't do anything. Sima Yue handed the antidote to Tao Yixian and said, This is the antidote that Great Master Ji personally refined. If you believe him, then eat him. Tao Yixian took the antidote and glanced at Great Master Ji. The latter proudly turned his head to the side. He didn't refine this thing for the sake of the young lord. Tao Yixian glanced at Sima Yue again. She didn't have any expression on her face, as if it didn't matter to her whether he ate the antidote or not. If it was before, he might have been suspicious. However, after walking around the little realm, he understood her quite a bit. Since she didn't say that there was anything wrong with the antidote, then there shouldn't be any problems. Thus, he ate the antidote without any hesitation. After waiting for a while, he felt his body twitch in pain. It was as if every part of his body was being cut by a knife. His internal organs were also in turmoil. He was almost about to faint from the pain. This antidote. He grabbed the chair, and the back of the chair was pulled off by him. He wanted to say that the antidote was fake, but his body was in so much pain that he couldn't say anything. His entire body fell to the ground. Sima Yue walked over and squatted down, saying, "This antidote is real. It's just that the process is a bit difficult to endure. Seeing how much pain you're in, I'll help you a bit more. Once you wake up, your poison will be completely cured." Tao Yixian looked at her with a dazed gaze. The pain had already made his mind a little hazy. He didn't know what Sima Yue had given him because he fainted immediately after. Chapter 16:24. When Tao Yixian woke up, he was already in bed. His whole body was still in pain, but the feeling of his spiritual energy being blocked had already disappeared. He immediately checked and found that the pain was normal. Does this mean that my poison has been cured? He moved a little, and his whole body was in pain. He thought that the process of detoxification was even worse than being poisoned. Hearing voices outside, he sat up slowly. Before he could get off the bed, he heard the door open and Sima Yue's voice came from the door. "If I were you, I'd lie down. Otherwise, there will be no medicine for regret if there are any side effects." Tao Yixian also knew that his body's condition wasn't very good, so he obediently laid back down. "How long have I been unconscious?" "Not long, just 3 or 4 days." Sima Yue walked over and checked his pulse. "The poison has been cleared. Why is the detoxification process so painful?" Tao Yixian asked. "Your body shrank when you were poisoned. Now that you've been detoxified, it's only natural that your body will grow back. There was a process for the body to grow from small to big. You're lucky that you met me. Otherwise, you'd die from the pain even if you got the antidote." Sima Yue said. "But you look better when you're young." Tao Yixian felt as if he had been teased. "We're in Great Master Ji's courtyard now." "Yes. No one in the clan knows, right?" he asked worriedly. "Even if you don't believe him, you should believe me. I still need to discuss poison techniques with him, so you should rest here. You will be able to get out of bed in 2 days." Sima Yue took out a pill and stuffed it into his mouth. She then stood up and left. Tao Yixian was a little annoyed. He didn't know if Sima Yue was angry or not. He also knew that there was no need for him to ask this question. If someone knew, would he still be able to wake up? He was probably killed while he was unconscious. However, he had asked that question out of the blue, and it had made her unhappy. Sima Yue left the room. In fact, she was not angry, but she felt that she had nothing to say to him. Moreover, they were discussing poison in the courtyard just now. She came in when she heard him wake up. Now that they were done, she had to go out. "How is he?" Great Master Ji asked. "Old Ji, your poison of 100 insects and herbs is much more powerful than mine. This detoxification process is really good." Sima Yue returned to her seat. "You're the one who's more powerful than me," Great Master Ji said. "If my poison was used on you, it wouldn't work. But you poisoned me." "I was just lucky," Sima Yue said. "My advantage is that I'm young and have a disguise. You don't know me well, but I know you. In that case, there's no comparison at all. All right, let's stop flattering each other. Why don't you take a look at how to cure this poison?" Great Master Ji said as he pushed a piece of paper in front of her. For the past 2 days, the two of them had been playing this kind of game. One of them would take out the raw materials of the poison without saying the amount and refining method, and then let the other guess and give the corresponding antidote. Most of the time, it was Great Master Ji who gave it, and Sima Yue would guess. Although it wasn't 100% accurate, it was 90% accurate. And every time Sima Yue gave him the raw materials, Great Master Ji would take a long time to study them. It wasn't that his poison skills weren't good, but because the materials that Sima Yue took out were all very rare or tricky. However, Great Master Ji didn't care that he was inferior to her. Every time he saw Sima Yue's recipe, he would be very excited. The two of them played like this for 2 days, and still couldn't get enough of it. Sima Yue picked up the paper and looked at it. She didn't answer immediately, but placed it on the table and lightly tapped on the paper with her right hand. Old Ji, you should know about Tao Yixian's situation and what I want to do, right? She asked. I know. So what? Haven't you thought of telling family head Tao and the others? Great Master Ji rolled his eyes and said, Why should I tell them? Aren't you guys together? Who said that I'm with them? Sima Yue was stunned. Could it be that they weren't? Their surname is Tao and my surname is Ji. I'm not from their family. I'm not even a guest official. I'm just making a deal with them. They provide me with a quiet life, and I provide them with some poison. That's all. I don't participate in the power struggle between them, so of course I don't belong to any faction. Great Master Ji said. If I can stay here, then I'll stay. If I can't, then I'll leave. It's not like I'm begging them. Sima Yue didn't think that they had this kind of relationship. Then do you know who wanted this 100 worms and 100 herbs poison back then? She asked. I don't know. I only know that the person who came had the family head's waist token. I've always only recognized the waist token and not the person, so I didn't pay attention to the people in the family. So even though I didn't know him, I still gave him the poison. Great Master Ji knew that she wanted to ask about what happened back then, so he told her everything he knew. He had the family head's waist token? If it wasn't him, then he must have a good relationship with him. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been able to get the waist token. Since we're going to chat, shouldn't there be good wine, dishes, desserts, and fruits? Great Master Ji asked. He ate the food she made yesterday and was craving it again today. Sima Yue looked at him and knew that if she wanted to get more information out of him, she had to satisfy him first. Thus, she didn't ask any more questions. She got up and prepared 4 dishes, a pot of wine and a plate of spirit fruits. Great Master Ji ate a heartless fruit first. Even though he was poisoned by it, it didn't stop him from falling in love with it. Sima Yue sat back down and poured a cup of wine for Great Master Ji. Then she poured another cup for herself before asking, You know about the poison, but what about the antidote? Was it given together? Or was it given later? The family head personally came to take the poison. Great Master Ji took a sip of wine. At that time, I was still asking why he took so long to get the antidote. He said, I forgot. His expression was a little unnatural. Even though I could tell, I said that I wouldn't interfere with the Gu family's matters, so I didn't ask too much and gave him the antidote. Later on, I heard that the young master had been plotted against by someone and had already escaped for a long time. When Sima Yue heard this, she could already roughly guess what had happened. The person who had poisoned him shouldn't have been Tao Yixian's father. Thinking about it, he should have felt a little comforted. However, his father had still been willing to participate in the plot. As for what part, she didn't know. As for the mastermind behind it, it should have been someone family head Tao wanted to protect. Otherwise, he wouldn't have taken the blame. There were only a few people who hated Tao Yixian to the bone and wanted to get rid of him. However, there weren't many people who could make family head Tao protect him like this. Chapter 1625. Love. No matter what, between Tao Yixian and the person behind him, family head Tao had chosen the latter. Although he hadn't done it himself, the damage done to Tao Yixian wasn't small. Sima Yue turned around to look at his room. He must have heard their conversation. She wondered what he would think. At this time, it was better to let him stay quietly. I don't know why Master is here to get the antidote. Great Master Ji said, but I think it's more likely that he wants to destroy the evidence. Why don't you guess that he's trying to find Tao Yixian and cure him of the poison? Sima Yue asked. Because when I gave him the antidote, I said that if he wanted to detoxify the poison, it would be best to prepare 2 more painkillers. Otherwise, the poisoned person wouldn't be able to take it. He only said that he knew, but he didn't ask me for anything else. He just took that to relieve his stress and left. Great Master Ji said. It's not that serious to destroy the evidence, is it? Don't we still have you? Sima Yue stared at him. As long as you're alive, there's still hope. However, Great Master Ji smiled and shook his head. You don't know my habits. Under normal circumstances, I won't casually refine an antidote for others. After saying that, he raised his head and glanced at her. If she hadn't threatened and tempted him, he wouldn't have refined it for her. Sima Yue understood the look in his eyes. She rubbed her nose and chuckled. I'm in a different situation. Junior has indeed offended you before. Come, let me offer you a toast as an apology. How about that? You little girl, do you often do this kind of thing? Giving a sweet date after a slap? Great Master Ji raised his wine glass and clinked it with hers before downing it. Hee, not often, just occasionally. Sima Yue said. I had no choice. You said you made a deal with the young master. What is it? Sima Yue thought about it and told him about how she came to look for someone. So, you came to the Lost Island to find your master and teacher? Great Master Ji said. Yes, they came here for me. Now that their whereabouts are unknown, how can I just leave them be? Sima Yue sighed. Now, I just hope that they are not suffering here. Your master and the others really took in a good disciple. Great Master Ji was a little envious of Su Jin and the others. Not to mention whether or not she could find them, but her sincerity was very touching. He glanced at the little girl who was fiddling with the herbs in the courtyard. He wondered how much better his little fellow would be compared to her when the time came. Just then, there was a knock on the door, interrupting their conversation. The child went to open the door and saw the people outside. He asked, What's the matter? Is Great Master Ji here? The clan had asked him to come over immediately. The person who came said anxiously, My master is busy. Seeing that his master didn't say anything, the child directly refused. After saying that, he went to close the door. Young master, don't be in such a hurry to close the door. This is the order of the clan head. Something happened to the second master, and the clan head wants him to hurry over and take a look. What does second master's accident have to do with my master? If you don't leave now, I'll release poison. The child threatened. Something really happened to second master. I'll have to trouble you to tell Great Master Ji. I'm here with the clan head's token. The guard's voice was very anxious. It seemed like second master's situation wasn't good. Sima Yue's heart skipped a beat when she first heard about second master. She didn't think that that fellow would actually come back alive. Why didn't that woman just kill him? Seeing how anxious that person was, she didn't know what second master Tao's situation was like. Thinking of this, she stood up and stood behind Great Master Ji. She respectfully said, Old Master, since something happened to second master and the clan had sent someone to invite you over, shouldn't we go? It's not good if we don't go, right? Once she spoke, the guard knew that Great Master Ji was in the courtyard, but he couldn't see them from his position. Great Master Ji, the clan head said that you must go. He shouted towards the courtyard. Great Master Ji looked at Sima Yue, who was acting like a servant, and raised his eyebrows. You want to go and watch the show? Sima Yue smiled very happily. What's wrong with watching a show? It's better than being cooped up here. Since that's the case, let's go and take a look. Great Master Ji brought Sima Yue out and said to the child, You have to look after the house properly. Most of the things in our courtyard are poisonous. Don't let anyone in. Master, I understand. The child obediently replied. Sima Yue looked at him and thought of his gaze just now. She thought that he would definitely be more vicious than Shi Qianji when he grew up. The guard outside the courtyard was stunned when he saw the servant girl behind Great Master Ji. Wasn't Great Master Ji a loner, who didn't interact with women? When did he have a servant girl? Didn't you say that the situation was urgent? Why are you still standing here? Great Master Ji said in a low voice. Yes. Great Master Ji, please follow me. The guard brought them directly to second Master Tao's residence. They only found out about his situation on the way. You're saying that second Master Tao went to Rabbit Ear Mountain to flirt with that old monster and got poisoned? Sima Yue cried out in shock. She wanted to use that old monster to attract second Master Tao's attention, so that he would get into an accident when he went to Rabbit Ear Mountain. She didn't think that this fellow would be so daring to actually flirt with that old monster. Second Master Tao's luck is not bad to be able to escape from that person. Great Master Ji also knew about that lady in white and her terrifying ability. Second Master Tao didn't escape. He was released by that lady. The guard said, that lady said that she would let him off today on account of her relationship with the Tao family. However, even if he was spared from death, he couldn't escape punishment. She waved her hand and Second Master Tao fainted. After the guard brought Second Master Tao back, the family had invited a doctor to take a look at him, but he said that he was poisoned. They couldn't do anything, so the family had wanted to invite Great Master Ji over. Sima Yue touched her chin. She didn't expect that lady to be related to the Tao family. Although she didn't take Second Master Tao's life this time, he was unconscious, so the effect was the same. Very quickly, the group of people arrived at Second Master Tao's courtyard. The guard brought them to Second Master Tao's house. At this moment, a person just happened to walk out of the house. The guard in front quickly bowed. Family head Great Master Ji is here. Sima Yue raised her head and saw a man with a dignified appearance. His facial features didn't look like Tao Yixian. She guessed that he looked more like his mother. Family head Tao saw Great Master Ji and quickly bowed. Great Master Ji, quickly take a look at my second brother. What kind of poison did he get? Why is he still unconscious? Family head, don't be anxious. Since I'm here, I will naturally examine Second Master Tao properly. Great Master Ji said as he was about to enter the house. Sima Yue followed behind him but was stopped by family head Tao. Who are you? Chapter 1626. Love. Patriarch Tao placed a hand in front of Sima Yue, blocking her from behind Great Master Ji. Just like that, Great Master Ji entered the room while she remained outside. Master, this servant is... I brought her back the last time I went out. I saw that she was quite talented in the art of poison, so I brought her back to do odd jobs. Great Master Ji said. So it's the disciple that Great Master Ji has his eyes on. Please. Patriarch Tao stepped aside to let Sima Yue in. Sima Yue bowed and followed Great Master Ji in. Close the door. Master Ji's voice rang out as she stepped past the door. Sima Yue turned around and looked at the people outside. Seeing that they did not have any strange expressions on their faces, she obediently closed the door. This Great Master Ji's position in the Tao family was really high. She sighed in her heart. This is my habit, Great Master Ji said as he set up a barrier. He did not like it when others looked at him when he was treating patients. It felt like they were looking at a monkey. Sima Yue laughed and said, how can you compare yourself like that? However, if he did that, she would have more freedom here. Great Master Ji walked over and looked at Second Master Tao before saying, he was indeed poisoned. This poison is so strange. Sima Yue's interest was piqued. Why is it strange? I think he was poisoned, or maybe he just fell asleep. Come and take a look. Great Master Ji stood up and asked her to examine Second Master Tao. Sima Yue felt Second Master Tao's pulse and was also surprised. She said, this situation is really strange. Right? Am I right? Great Master Ji said, from the looks of it, it should be an accidental poisoning. I think being poisoned is just one of the reasons. His body must have been tampered with, Sima Yue said. You have a grudge with this guy? Great Master Ji asked. Forget it. I was wondering why you would come here. Great Master Ji said. However, even I can't do anything about this poison. I can't do anything even if you want me to. If you can't do it, then don't do it. Just let him lie there. It's fine. Sima Yue said. If I go out like this, the patriarch will probably go crazy. He usually dotes on Second Master a lot. Great Master Ji said. You don't care about that, do you? Sima Yue smiled. Besides, I didn't ask you to do nothing. Even if you do research, it will take you at least a few days to get results, right? You just need to extend the time a little. How long? Great Master Ji didn't even bat an eyelid. It was just a small favor, so he helped her out. Who asked him to like this little fellow more? It won't take long. Just don't let him attend the conference. Sima Yue said. No problem. Even if you didn't mention it, I reckoned that I would have to wait until then to figure it out. Great Master Ji said. Old Ji, you're so nice. Sima Yue said gratefully. Fine, fine, fine. You're the first person to say that I'm good, Old Ji said. Others had always scolded him for being cruel and merciless, or for being a loner. No one had ever said that he was a good person before. That's because they can't see your good side. Sima Yue said. They only have fear, dread, respect, and reverence for you. Naturally, they won't be able to see your good side. You sure know how to talk. Great Master Ji took out a jade bowl and filled it with Second Master Tao's fresh blood. Then he retracted the barrier and said, Let's go out and report. Okay. Sima Yue took a step back and let him walk in front. Then, she quickly fed him a pill when she turned around. The people outside were waiting anxiously. When they saw the two of them coming out, they quickly surrounded them. Great Master Ji, how is it? Is he poisoned? Patriarch Tao asked. Patriarch, Second Master is indeed poisoned. This poison is very strange. I have never seen it before. I need to do some research, Great Master Ji said. But Patriarch, don't worry. Second Master's life is not in danger for now. Patriarch Tao's heart relaxed a little after knowing that Second Master Tao's life was not in danger. Then I'll have to trouble Great Master Ji, he said. This is what I should do, Great Master Ji said. However, this poison is really too strange. Even if it's me, I will definitely be able to help Second Master recover completely. But as for what side effects there will be, I can't give you a clear answer now. As long as Great Master Ji tries his best. Patriarch Tao said. The other doctors, alchemists, and poison masters in the family were all helpless. He was already more capable than others to be able to save Second Master Tao. Patriarch, I heard that Second Master was turned into this state by old Rabbit Ear Mountain. Maybe you can find her and get the antidote. Great Master Ji suggested sincerely. I'll consider it. But we'll have to rely on Great Master Ji here. As long as second brother wakes up, the family will definitely give you a big gift. Patriarch Tao said. Even if you don't say this, I'll try my best. Such an interesting poison is worth my research. Patriarch will head back first. Great Master Ji said and left. Sima Yue followed behind him. When they were about to leave the courtyard, they brushed past a lady. Why are you here? Didn't I ask you to rest in the courtyard? Now that you're pregnant, you can't just walk around. I heard that second brother's condition is very serious. I was worried about you, so I came over to take a look. That lady said gently. Second brother hasn't woken up yet, but Great Master Ji said. Sima Yue walked far away and couldn't hear the rest of the words. But there was no need to guess who this lady was. She was definitely the so-called Madam of the Patriarch, Yin Lian. She was so delicate and weak that one couldn't help but feel pity for her. No wonder Patriarch Tao was so infatuated with her that he didn't even want his son. She was pregnant? Didn't they say that Patriarch Tao couldn't have children? Why was she pregnant again? She asked Great Master Ji this question. Puffed. They said that they found some godly doctor from somewhere and cured Patriarch's body. They said that he could have children now. In less than 2 months, Madam got pregnant. Great Master Ji said with disdain when he talked about the godly doctor. Since there's a godly doctor, why didn't he come to treat him today? He left long ago. I don't even know if his corpse is still around. Great Master Ji said as he walked. Sima Yue guessed that he must have been silenced. Those people weren't as insightful as Great Master Ji. The two of them returned to the courtyard one after the other. After the child opened the door for them, he said, Master, no one came in. Well done. I'll teach you how to identify poisons tonight. Okay. The child ran off with a smile. Great Master Ji found a container to store Second Master Tao's bowl of blood before asking, Little girl, what poison did you give Second Master Tao? You saw it. Sima Yue didn't feel awkward after being caught red-handed. She smiled magnanimously. Actually, it's nothing much. I just want his little brother to sleep forever. Let his little brother sleep forever? Wasn't this to make him unable to be a man in the future? Before he could speak, Sima Yue added, There's no cure for it. Chapter 1627. Love, there was no antidote? Great Master Ji couldn't help but break out in a cold sweat when he saw how relaxed and calm she was. How did you refine it? Since you can concoct a poison, you should have an antidote. We do have the antidote, but we're unable to make it. Isn't that the same as having no solution? Sima Yue said. The antidote contains extinct medicinal herbs? Great Master Ji raised his eyebrows. To be able to concoct an antidote with such medicinal ingredients, it meant that the ingredients used to concoct the poison were also very rare. Yue, we can be considered friends, right? Why don't you let me take a look at your poison? Maybe I can find another way to solve this problem. Sima Yue looked at him and said with a smile, Old Ji, do you want to try? Perhaps experiencing it yourself will be even more effective. Experience it personally? Then forget it. Anyway, I have a test subject here. When the time comes, I'll just start from him. What a joke. Although he rarely put his energy into this, he was still a normal man. He would not be able to do that in the future. Not to mention other things, he could not accept it psychologically. Sima Yue leaned on the table and laughed even harder. Master Ji was embarrassed by her smile. He flung his sleeves and snorted. I'm not going to talk about this with you. I'm going to research the antidote. Sima Yue saw that he was blushing and thought that no matter what, he was still a few generations older than her, so she stopped teasing him. She followed behind him and watched him extract the components of the poison from Second Master Tao's blood. Old Ji, do you think that Patriarch Tao will go to Rabbit Ear Mountain to ask for the antidote? Why do you care? Old Ji asked casually. Didn't that woman make Second Master Tao look like this? However, she didn't take Second Master Tao's life, and even said that she spared his life on account of their previous friendship. Tell me, if they went to look for that girl, would she give them the antidote? Sima Yue asked. Great Master Ji was stunned for a moment before replying. No. Are you sure? The woman from Rabbit Ear Mountain is called Witch by everyone. She has some ties with the previous family head, but that was many years ago. However, that bit of friendship had already been used up in order to save Second Master Tao's life. If the clan had dared to bring people to ask her for the antidote, it would remind her of Second Master Tao's molestation. She might even get angry and kill the people he sent. There is even a possibility that he will vent his anger on the Tao family. Great Master Ji analyzed. Don't be fooled by how well Master treats Second Master Tao. He's actually a very selfish person. If things threaten his own interests, he. So that woman is called Witch. You seem to know her quite well. Sima Yue said. I don't think so. I used to live with her for a while. PFFF. Sima Yue almost choked. Master Ji's words were truly shocking. Master Ji glanced at her. Why are you so surprised? When did you live with her? Sima Yue kept her smile and pretended to be serious. I was still young then. I went to Rabbit Ear Mountain to study poisonous plants and insects. I was attacked by spirit beasts and almost died. It was Witch who saved me. As I was severely injured, she brought me away. Even though many years had passed, he still remembered what happened back then. Was Witch very lonely? Sima Yue asked. She was very lonely. Great Master Ji's tone was a little desolate. It was lonely at the top. How could someone like her not be lonely? Sima Yue recalled the time she interacted with Witch. She did not have the spirit of wholeheartedly pursuing Tao like others. Instead, she seemed to be indifferent to everything. Now that she thought about it, that should be loneliness. Since she felt lonely, why didn't she leave Rabbit Ear Mountain? Great Master Ji shook his head. I don't know either. Maybe she was waiting for something. Sima Yue rolled her eyes and said to Great Master Ji, Old Ji, I'll go check on young master. Take your time to study. Without waiting for his reply, she turned around and left. She returned to her own house and set up a barrier before calling Little Lucky out. Little Lucky, do you miss Witch? Sima Yue asked. Witch? The lady who took you away from Rabbit Ear Mountain. Sima Yue explained. You mean Big Sister? I miss her. Little Lucky nodded. Are we going to look for her? I still have things to do. I can't look for her, Sima Yue said. However, I heard from old Ji that she was very lonely living alone in the mountain. Sigh, but she didn't seem to be willing to leave. Big sister said that she had agreed to meet someone there. In the end, that person didn't come and died. That's why she stood guard there alone, said Little Lucky. So that's the case. She's a true woman, Sima Yue said with some emotion. That's right. Little Lucky agreed. Since she suffered so much on the mountain, why don't we let her come down the mountain and stay with us? Sima Yue asked. Since she's already dead, she can't be trapped in the past forever. Life should be looking forward. Let big sister stay with us. Little Lucky's eyes lit up. If she stays with us, she won't be so lonely. That's right. Even if she doesn't stay with us, she can go to other places. She won't be so lonely if she interacts more with people, Sima Yue said. You're right. I was wondering why I felt that big sister's aura wasn't right. So it's because no one interacts with her, Little Lucky said. Isn't she on good terms with Helmsman Tua? Then they can be considered friends. She can go and find her friends and interact with them. Right? People should have friends. Little Lucky agreed with this point of view. It's a pity that no one can interact with her, Sima Yue sighed. Since she likes you, why don't you go and persuade her to go out for a walk and not stay in Rabbit Ear Mountain all the time? How about it? I'll go. Little Lucky was a little moved, but he was afraid that Sima Yue was purposely sending him away. After hesitating for a while, he shook his head and rejected. Not only will you go, I'll let Little Roar go with you, Sima Yue said. I'll also let those ancient spirit beasts go with you to ensure your safety. Little Roar will go too. Sima Yue nodded. She thought that Little Roar was the best at tricking people. How could she leave him out of this kind of thing? That's fine. As long as Little Roar was around, she wouldn't purposely send him away. He could even bring Little Roar to make Big Sister happy. Then it's settled. Sima Yue called Little Roar out and instructed him, especially the high-speed Little Roar. He must persuade her to leave Rabbit Ear Mountain and go out to see the world. Little Roar saw Sima Yue winking at him and understood. He patted his chest and promised to complete the mission. Chapter 16:28. Love. Little Lucky left in high spirits. Before Little Roar left, he sent her a message, asking her why she was doing this. He knew that Yue would not be so free as to meddle in other people's business. Oh no, she didn't have balls. She was probably too bored. Sima Yue pursed her lips, but she knew that Little Roar was still reliable at crucial moments, so she said to him, "It's not that I want to meddle in other people's affairs, but this which is related to the Tao family. If she wants to help the Tao family, it will be more troublesome for us to take action. If she's not here, then we don't have to worry about that." I see. Then Little Lucky and I will bring her out for a walk. We'll come back when we're more or less done, Little Roar said. All right, I'll cook a feast for you when I'm done. I'll remember that. Don't deny it when you come back. After Little Roar finished speaking, he cut off the connection between the two. Sima Yue could not help but laugh. This guy's personality had not changed even after so many years. Things had changed with the passage of time. To her, it was also a kind of consolation that there were still people who maintained their original intentions. Therefore, even though the other spirit beasts had all become mature and steady, only Little Roar still had that playful look on his face. She did not say anything to him. With her around, it just had to be happy. She came out of her room and went to Tao Yixian's room. He was lying on the bed, his eyes staring straight at the ceiling. What's wrong? She went to him and took his wrist to examine him. So in a family like this, kinship is pitifully thin. Tao Yixian came back to his senses. His previous expression had disappeared. Sima Yue could feel that he seemed to have changed from the inside out. So you heard everything. Sima Yue retracted her hand. You're recovering well. You'll be able to get out of bed tomorrow. Tao Yixian looked at her. Isn't this what you wanted me to hear? Sima Yue pursed her lips and did not deny it. The sooner you know the truth, the better. I know. Tao Yixian stared at the roof once more. Actually, I should have known that he doesn't have any fatherly feelings for me. Whatever use I had for him had long since been exhausted the moment he stabilized his position as patriarch. It's rare for him to tolerate me for 400 years. I remember you said that your father couldn't have children for some reason, right? Sima Yue asked. Yes. Why are you asking this? Tao Yixian asked. Madam is pregnant. I heard that a godly doctor was hired to treat your father, but the strange thing is that the godly doctor disappeared after treating your father. He didn't stay at home. Sima Yue said. What? Tao Yixian exclaimed in a low voice. Haha, the patriarch believes it. He didn't even call him father and directly called him family head. It seemed that the last bit of affection between father and son had dissipated. Of course I do. Sima Yue said. Speaking of which, I feel quite sorry for you. Sympathy? I don't need it. Tao Yixian said. In the past I couldn't see past it. Now that I've seen past it, it's nothing much. I just feel that my mother isn't worth it. She saved him, gave him her chastity, gave birth to a son for him, and in the end, lost her life because of him. But in the end, we've become a thorn in someone else's side. Then what do you plan to do from now on? Sima Yue asked. Our deal is only to send you back to the position of young patriarch. It doesn't include dealing with your father. I know. Tao Yixian said. That's why I'm not asking for anything more from you. However, if I can become the patriarch, I'll be able to mobilize more resources and help you find your master and teacher. So, I just want you to ensure my safety. Tao Yixian said. Sima Yue shrugged. What's the difference? Of course. If I just want to take back the position of young patriarch, it'll be much easier. If I want to overthrow him and become the patriarch, it'll be much harder. The danger I'll face will also be much greater. In comparison, what you'll have to do is much more dangerous. Is there something you haven't told me? Sima Yue crossed her arms and stared into his eyes. You're very confident, so there's something you haven't told me. Hehe, you've even found out. Tao Yixian said. Many years ago, I've already sensed the danger, so I've been collecting information. As long as I make this public, then his position as the patriarch won't be stable. Even if you overthrow him, there are many others who can take over that position. Do you think you'll have a chance of winning? Sima Yue said. I have my own plans. Tao Yixian said. Originally, I wanted to drag them down with me after my death. I never thought that there would be a day where I could use them. As expected, I can't underestimate you. Sima Yue looked at him deeply. If it wasn't for your foster father's betrayal, you wouldn't have ended up like that, right? From a child who had a hard time surviving to someone who had silently obtained decisive evidence, it turned out that she had always underestimated him. Tao Yixian looked back at her. Don't worry, I won't do anything to you. I don't care if you do anything to me or not. Sima Yue said. Anyway, I won't be staying in this place for long, so there's no conflict of interest between us. If you really want to do anything to me. She didn't finish her sentence. She glanced at him before turning around to leave. So you're saying that we've reached a deal? Sima Yue had just walked to the door when she heard the voice behind her. She waved her hand and strode out. Tao Yixian smiled. Her meaning was clear. He knew her background, so would he dare to touch her? Whether he dared or not, whether he knew or not, whether he was willing or not, there was a huge difference. The next day, Tao Yixian got out of bed. After his strength and body recovered, he wanted to leave but was stopped by Sima Yue and Great Master Ji. With your current appearance, you'll be discovered if you walk out 3 meters. In less than 10 minutes, you'll be caught. Great Master Ji didn't hesitate to poke at his sore spot. Tao Yixian stood where he was, clenching and relaxing his fists. After a few deep breaths, he finally calmed himself down. It's not impossible for you to go find your foster father. Sima Yue said. But what will happen after you find him? It's broad daylight right now. Will you still be able to confront him directly? But I won't be satisfied if I don't see him. Tao Yixian said. What's wrong with that? Just meet him. But first you have to know how to disguise yourself like me. Sima Yue looked him up and down. I don't think you'll be able to do that. Tao Yixian had been curious about her disguise before. It was definitely impossible for him to change so thoroughly. Then we can only use the second method. What method? Great Master Ji asked. Tie him up and bring him here. I think this won't be a problem for old Ji at all, right? Great Master Ji. Chapter 1629. Love. Although he was speechless, Great Master Ji still managed to get her back that night under the temptation of a lost poison recipe. Sima Yue did not care how he brought her back. She looked at the person lying on the ground. Her looks were barely satisfactory. Tao Yixian clenched his fists when he saw him. Old Ji, wake him up. Sima Yue said. Old Ji took out a small pill and fed it to him. Then he got up and the two of them left the room together, leaving Tao Yixian to face his adoptive father alone. Before he left, Sima Yue set up a barrier around him. She and Great Master Ji stood in the courtyard and couldn't hear the commotion inside. She didn't know if he was angry or sad. How do you think this brat will deal with his adoptive father? Great Master Ji felt that he was more interested in things other than poison when he was with her. I don't think they'll let him go so easily. Sima Yue said. As for how we're going to deal with him, it depends on whether he still remembers our friendship over the years. You really want to help him become the head of the family? Great Master Ji turned to look at her. What's the difference? Sima Yue smiled at Great Master Ji. It's the same thing anyway. These old bones of mine will probably never have a day of peace because of you. Great Master Ji said. Old Ji, if you have nowhere to go, you can go to Heartbreak Valley. There are a lot of poisonous creatures there, so you can do any research you want. Sima Yue said as she threw a token to him. It's very free inside. As long as you make a small oath before you enter that you will not do anything dangerous in the valley, you will be fine. What force is that? Great Master Ji held the token. I'm more familiar with it. Sima Yue explained the general situation of Paramount Valley to him. She told him that if he wanted to go, he could ask Shimen Feng to arrange a place for him that he liked. When Great Master Ji heard that there was such a good place, he was rather moved. However, he was used to the life of the Tao family. If it wasn't for the fact that he couldn't continue living, he didn't plan on moving for a while. I'll keep this for now. Who knows, it might come in handy one day. Great Master Ji chuckled as he kept the token. What do you plan to do next? What do you need from me? You don't have to do anything. You still have to live in the Tao family in the future, so you don't have to get involved in this matter anymore. Great Master Ji was stunned. He was not allowed to participate at this time? This matter will definitely cause unrest in the Tao family. If you participate too much, it won't be easy for you to have a foothold in the Tao family. You don't belong to any side. If you don't participate in this kind of thing, no one will say anything to you in the future, Sima Yue said. Great Master Ji's heart throbbed a little. He opened his mouth, but his throat felt a little congested. All right, let's not bother about him. Let's go back to our own business. Sima Yue said and went back to her room. Great Master Ji looked at her back and laughed silently. It wasn't the usual sneer or feminine smile, but a kind of joy that came from the bottom of his heart. Children nowadays. He sighed. Forget it, this old man will also go and study that prescription. Sima Yue didn't know what Tao Yixian had said to his foster father. She only knew that he had come to ask her for a bottle of corpse-dissolving water. When he left, he said, I gave him a quick death. In the end, he didn't let his hatred destroy his conscience. There were only 3 days left until the Tao family's great assembly. Sima Yue took Tao Yixian away in the middle of the night. She couldn't help him with what he was about to do, nor did she want to interfere. The only thing she had to do now was find the Tao family's old ancestor on the day of the Great Assembly and guarantee that he wouldn't die on that day. 3 days passed in the blink of an eye. On the morning of the Tao family's Great Assembly, she had just come out when she saw Great Master Ji standing in the corridor. Old Ji, thank you for taking care of me these past few days. Sima Yue handed him a pill and said with a smile, "Mine is much gentler than yours. I didn't feel anything during the detoxification process." Humph, this old man did it on purpose. Great Master Ji took the antidote and swallowed it. The stagnant feeling in his body slowly dissipated. "You. Be careful." "I will." Sima Yue said. "Old Ji, if you come up with anything good in the future, you must share it with this junior." "You too." "Old Ji, you sure have confidence in me." Sima Yue walked out of the courtyard. As she walked, she instructed Thousand Resonance to transform and return to his original appearance. She turned around and the sun shone on her body. "Old Ji, you must take a good look at my appearance. You can't go to Paramount Valley without knowing what I look like. I'm leaving. Goodbye." Great Master Ji knew that Sima Yue had never revealed her true appearance here, but he was still shocked by her sudden transformation. He only regained his senses when she returned to her original appearance and left the courtyard. Master, how did Big Sister Yue do it?" The little child's eyes were filled with worship and his eyes were wide open. "You can ask her yourself when you grow up." Great Master Ji slapped the child's hands off his legs and went to the research room. These few days were just a small interlude in his life. Now his life was about to return to normal. However, it suddenly felt a little cold and cheerless. After Sima Yue left Great Master Ji's courtyard, she turned left and right, avoiding the guards as she headed north. When she came out of their courtyard, she came into contact with Thousand Resonance and returned to her original appearance. She even changed into the servant girl's clothes. She hadn't been idle these few days and had been investigating the Tao family's situation. With the map from Helmsman Tua and the contribution of the Scarlet Bees these days, she had a clear grasp of where the roads were, when the guards would patrol, and so on. She avoided the guards and didn't meet anyone from the courtyard to the back mountain. When she reached the foot of the mountain, she wasn't in a hurry to go up the mountain. Instead, she looked in the direction of the Tao family's courtyard. That place had been filled with earth-shattering noises before, but it had quieted down now. Tao Yixian should have appeared with his men. "Looks like I have to hurry," she muttered to herself as she turned and walked up the mountain. "Stop!" Two guards stood in the middle of the road, blocking her way. Sima Yue looked at their strength, and the two elders from the Egret clan appeared behind her. "Since they're here, I'll leave them to you," she ordered the two elders. "Young miss, please continue forward," the elder said as he began to fight with the two guards. Sima Yue continued forward. Before she reached the top of the mountain, a few more people flew out. Sima Yue called out the elders from her spirit pagoda and continued forward. "Who are you?" Sima Yue raised her head and looked at the person on the giant rock in front of her, saying, "I'm asking a passerby." Chapter 1630. Yes. That man frowned slightly. "Ask a passerby? Ask where the road was? No matter who you are, this is the place where the old ancestor is in seclusion. Quickly leave," he shouted. "So easy to talk to." Sima Yue smiled. "If it weren't for the fact that you were afraid that the commotion I caused would bring the old ancestor out, would you be so easy to talk to?" "What do you mean?" "What I mean is what I mean. You don't have to persuade me to leave. I came here today to see the old ancestor. Do it." She was too lazy to talk nonsense and called out all the beasts in her spirit pagoda. At this time, a group of people flew down from the mountain. Sima Yue didn't think that they would actually have so many people lying in ambush here. It seemed like they were really preventing people from getting close to the old ancestor and informing him. It was no wonder that Tao Yixian's people had all died here. With this array, they wouldn't be able to get through without some strength. However, the other party had so many people, so she wasn't anxious. Instead, she called Sima Lu Xian and the others out. She was the weakest and was surrounded in the middle by them. They didn't let her make a move, and this made her feel helpless. Such a big commotion, and the old ancestor didn't even hear it? Why didn't he have any reaction? The commotion here was deliberately concealed by people with intentions, and it didn't spread to the square. And over there, they didn't have the time to care about these things. Because when the younger generation of the clan was competing, the young master who betrayed the clan and went missing returned. Not only did he return, he even brought out evidence to prove his innocence. He even brought out all the evidence he had. One of them was that the madam of the clan had colluded with outsiders and plotted to take over the Tao family's business. She even said that many people with important positions were involved. Today's meeting was to test the younger generation of the clan, and also to display the clan's power in front of the people below. Tao Yixian appeared in front of everyone, and even brought evidence. It was obviously impossible to kill him like this. Both sides were in a deadlock. Sima Yue looked at the sky. They had wasted too much time here. She looked at the mountaintop and her body slowly disappeared from the sky. No one on the battlefield noticed. When she came out again, she was on the other side of the mountain. She looked at the barrier in front of her. No wonder the old ancestor couldn't hear such a big commotion. It turned out that there was a barrier. If Little Roar was here, it would be easy for her to call him out and fuse with him. But now that Little Roar was not here, this method was useless. Thinking briefly, she focused her spirit energy to attack the barrier. The great ancestor, who was in seclusion in the stone chamber, naturally felt that his boundary had been attacked. His face darkened, and there was some anger in his eyes. I wonder which junior is so impudent. Tao family old ancestor heard that you aren't in seclusion. You should be able to hear what I'm saying, right? If you still don't come out, Tao Yixian is going to die. The Tao family's patriarch, who was originally as steady as a rock, immediately stood up. Sima Yue soon saw the stone room open and a tall and slender person walk out. Who are you? Old ancestor Tao asked. You don't need to know who I am for now. I was only asked by Tao Yixian to come here and meet you. Sima Yue stretched out her hand and pointed at the battlefield on the other side of the mountain, saying, in order to meet you, I spent a lot of effort. My men can't hold on much longer. The Tao family's patriarch's face darkened. He retracted his boundary and appeared in the air in a flash. He shouted at the people on the other side, stop! When the Tao family members saw the patriarch of the Tao family, they could not help but shiver. They could not help but stop. As for the others, when they saw that Sima Yue, who was beside him, did not say anything, they stopped as well. When the Tao family's patriarch saw this situation, how could he not understand? He was so angry that his aura was released. You all have guts. Sima Yue felt his powerful aura and retreated to the side, reminding him, these people are all small fries. It's not too late to take care of them later. However, if you don't get there in time, Tao Yixian might lose his life. What he said was not wrong. This was because their family had heard the fighting in the plaza. Oomph. He flung his long sleeves, and the Tao family members were frozen in place. Sima Yue was dumbstruck by this. Too amazing. The Tao family's patriarch ignored her shocked expression and flew directly towards the plaza. Yue, let's go too. Han Miaoshuang came over and said, where are we going? Sima Yue was studying how the Tao family's patriarch had trapped them and asked instinctively, we're going to take a look at the situation on Tao Yixian's side. Han Miaoshuang said, didn't you say you wanted to ensure his safety? Aren't we going to take a look? Oh, his patriarch is already there. What danger can there be? We've already done the most dangerous thing. Sima Yue said. He had evidence in his hands and the patriarch was there as well. As long as his evidence was solid enough, there would not be any changes to today's situation. Compared to that side, she was more interested in this. Han Miaoshuang watched as she circled around those people and pulled her hand, saying, we can study these people after the matter is over. Let's go over there now. Sima Yue was dragged along by her, and followed unwillingly. Before she left, she remembered to take back the beasts and the Egret clan elders. When they arrived at the plaza, the matter was already nearing its end. No matter how intense the battle was before, once the patriarch made a move, no one would be able to escape. Only with reason could the patriarch make a move. This was also the reason why Sima Yue called the Tao family's patriarch over for Tao Yixian. If he was unreasonable, what she would do today was not to invite him out, but to think of a way to not let him know about what happened today. Evil creature, What are you doing? She's your mother. Are you trying to kill them all? She's pregnant with your younger brother. Patriarch Tao's berating voice traveled far, and they heard it before they even reached the plaza. Younger brother? I'm afraid Patriarch doesn't think that he's my younger brother, but your only son. Tao Yixian laughed coldly. What? You think I'm wrong? Evil creature. Patriarch Tao wanted to grab Tao Yixian, but was stopped by the people beside him. Did I hit the nail on the head? Tao Yixian avoided him. I was poisoned by the 100 insects and 100 herbs poison, and was being chased after. As my father, you didn't look for me and even destroyed the antidote for the 100 insects and 100 herbs poison. Oh, that's not right. I can't say that you didn't look for me. You sent people to the Tang family, and I was chased all the way to Rabbit Ear Mountain by the Tang family. So you could be considered to have looked for me. Hiss. When everyone heard this, they couldn't help but gasp. A father chased after his son? Was this really something a patriarch would do? What nonsense are you spouting? To be able to mobilize your people and use your token to get the poison from Great Master Ji. Who else could it be other than the person beside you? You're actually shielding him even though he betrayed the family. Father, is this how you explain things to the clan members? Tao Yixian's words were heartbreaking. Chapter 1631. Love. As soon as Tao Yixian's words fell, the crowd burst into cheers. If it was just an ordinary crime, it would be fine if he wanted to cover up for her. This was a great crime of betrayal. How could they tolerate it? Sima Yue never thought that Tao Yixian would actually have such evidence. It looked like she had really underestimated him. No, she had been improving her opinion of him, but he kept surprising her. He was truly a scheming man. Fortunately, I won't have much interaction with him, she muttered softly. We were all fooled by him. We thought he was a cute little Shota. We didn't expect him to be a piece of smoked bacon. Han Miao Shuang echoed from the side. This kind of person is very good at pretending to be a pig to eat a tiger. However, once he reaches the point where he has to hide himself, he will be like a dragon emerging from the shallows. He can no longer be trapped. Jiang Junxian said. He is indeed a scheming person. What if he doesn't fulfill the agreement when he becomes the head of the family? Su Xiaoxiao was a little worried. He won't, Sima Yue said confidently. Little junior sister, let me tell you, don't be deceived by a man's appearance. Han Miaoshuang hooked her neck. Look at those who are more handsome, the more evil they are. Really? The first time I saw eldest senior brother, I thought he was so handsome. Sima Yue smiled and glanced at Jiang Junxian. The latter was staring at Han Miaoshuang with narrowed eyes. Han Miaoshuang stretched out her hands and directly covered his eyes, humping. Am I not telling the truth? Do you want me to say that the more handsome a man is, the more reliable he is? If I believed that, would I still follow you? Wouldn't we have to run every time we see them? Jiang Junxian grabbed her hand, then stared at her and said sternly, You dare? So am I right? Han Miaoshuang raised her chin proudly. Yes, you're right, except for me. Everyone. It was Sima Yue's first time seeing Jiang Junxian like this. Sure enough, people's IQ would drop when they were in love. When we find master, we will get married. Jiang Junxian said. When did I agree to marry you? Han Miaoshuang wanted to withdraw her hand, but he held it tightly and she couldn't. Even if you don't agree, you still have to agree. Jiang Junxian's attitude was unyielding. I don't want to. Han Miaoshuang snorted. Sima Yue shook her head as she listened from the side. Who would propose like this? Eldest senior brother is not enlightened in this aspect. I say, if you two want to flirt, can you choose another time and place? She couldn't help but remind them. If this continued, they would be discovered. Only then did Han Miaoshuang remember that it wasn't just the two of them. Her face flushed red. It's all your fault. She glared at Jiang Junxian. Senior sister, there's a good show to watch. Here comes the main event. Sima Yue pulled her sleeve. When Han Miaoshuang heard that there was a good show to watch, it immediately attracted her attention and ignored Jiang Junxian. In the public square, Patriarch Tao stood in front of the patriarch's wife. Because of this, the old ancestor was enraged and removed him from his position, announcing in front of everyone that Tao Yixian would take over. Sima Yue and the others thought that many people would jump out to protest, but for some reason, those old fellows actually agreed. It seemed like they were either threatened by Tao Yixian or recruited by him. As for the other younger ones, although they had objections, the old ancestor and the elders didn't say anything, so how would they dare to stand out? Father. Tao Yixian took 2 steps forward. Mother betrayed the clan and colluded with others, harming the clan's interests. Today we must take her down. You dare? Patriarch Tao shouted. You unfilial son, if you dare to touch a single hair on her head, you'll have to step over my dead body first. Father, she's wronged you. She's not worth your protection. Tao Yixian's face was filled with pain and hatred. No matter what, she's still my wife. Although Patriarch Tao knew that her sins were unforgivable, he still couldn't bear to abandon her. Father, do you really think that she still treats you the same as before? She doesn't even have you in her heart right now. Tao Yixian cried out. What nonsense are you spouting? I only have old master in my heart. The patriarch's wife knew that only by following her husband would they have a way out. So she grabbed his arm tightly and refused to let go. Don't you feel like you're slapping yourself in the face when you say those words? Tao Yixian said. It looks like you won't shed tears until you see the coffin. Bring him in. Go. Let's go. 2 guards brought a man to the plaza. The man lost his balance and fell flat on his face. Seeing the man, Patriarch Tao's face was filled with confusion while his wife was shocked. Why did you bring the godly doctor here? Patriarch Tao asked. Father, do you still remember this godly doctor? Tao Yixian didn't answer but asked instead. Of course I do. He was the one who had cured his body, so how could he not remember? If it wasn't for him, how could his wife have gotten pregnant again? A few months ago, someone saw him being chased by a group of people and saved him. However, they heard something shocking. Tao Yixian said as he looked at him meaningfully. What is it? This matter can't come out of my mouth. Tao Yixian said. It's best if you let the godly doctor say it himself. Tell me, what is it? Patriarch Tao, save me. The godly doctor suddenly cried out. Save you? Who wants your life? Patriarch Tao vaguely sensed something, but he wasn't willing to believe it. It's the patriarch's wife. She sent people to kill me to silence me. The godly doctor cried. I didn't cure your internal injuries at all. She was the one who told me to say that I had already cured you. She was the one who found me and gave me many benefits. That's why I went against my conscience and lied to you. Because I didn't cure you at all, I didn't dare to stay in the Tao family. I didn't think that after leaving the Tao family, I would encounter assassination attempts and almost die a few times. Patriarch Tao was clearly shocked by the godly doctor's words as his expression changed again and again. Godly doctor, you must be mistaken, right? My wife is obviously pregnant. Why didn't you treat my injury? It's true. That wife had long been pregnant with someone else. She just kept you in the dark. The godly doctor said. If you don't believe me, I can swear that everything I said was true. If I really cured you, then I'll go to the infernal hell. After the oath, he was still standing there perfectly fine, which meant that everything he said was true. Then that meant, everyone's gazes turned to Patriarch Tao and his wife. Tell me, what's going on here? Patriarch Tao's eyes were bloodshot from the series of blows, and he looked very frightening. Old master. The patriarch's wife was frightened by his appearance, and she subconsciously took 2 steps back. I don't need you to say anything. Swear as well. If the child in your stomach isn't mine, then you'll go to the infernal hell. Patriarch Tao said through gritted teeth. Chapter 1632. Love swear an oath? Did she dare? The answer was obvious. He didn't dare. Master, swear. Say that the child in your stomach is mine. Say that you didn't do anything to let me down. Patriarch Tao roared. I can't. Madam Patriarch shook her head and stepped back. How could the crowd not understand her behavior? The family head's wife had really made the family head a cuckold. Who is the adulterer? I can't say. Madam Patriarch lost her balance, her body leaned back, her center of gravity unstable, and directly fell to the ground. You can't say? Do you want me to guess? Family head Tao's expression became ferocious. He stepped forward, grabbed her neck, and lifted her up. Let go. The madam tried to pry his hand away with both hands, but she couldn't move it at all. I treated you wholeheartedly and neglected my son for hundreds of years. As soon as you said you didn't want to see him, I sent him to the most dangerous place to gain experience, and forbade him from taking a single step into our courtyard. You sent someone to kill him with poison. Knowing that he didn't die, I even went to get the antidote for you and destroyed the evidence. You betrayed the clan, and I was willing to give up my position as the patriarch to protect you. But you made me a cuckold. Tell me, how should I deal with you? No, don't. I was wrong. Cough, cough. Wrong? Do you think you're worthy of me just because you're wrong? We've been childhood sweethearts for so long. How could I not satisfy you? Why would I want you to go out and flirt with other women? Shameless be asterisk teeth. Sima Yue laughed when she heard Tao Yixian's father's words. I've seen shameless people before, but I've never seen someone as shameless as you. A failed man will always put the blame on someone else, and even the things he does become dignified. Junior sister, what do you mean? Han Miaoshuang asked. Although Tao Yixian's father didn't intend to kill Tao Yixian in the beginning, when he found out that Tao Yixian had been poisoned and escaped, not only did no one go to help him, he even went to Old Ji to ask for the antidote. Moreover, he even sent people to kill him, because he felt threatened by Tao Yixian. But now he made it sound so nice. What woman? That was just an excuse. It seems like he doesn't like his wife that much, Sima Yue said sarcastically. This kind of man should be dragged to hell together, Han Miaoshuang said hatefully. Indeed. There's nothing interesting after this. If you guys want to stay here, go ahead. I'm going back to look for an inn. Sima Yue was not interested in what happened after this. She turned around and left. Sima Lu Xian and the others weren't interested in this matter. They just accompanied her to watch it. Now that she was leaving, they naturally had to leave as well. Han Miaoshuang saw that everyone had left. The exciting part of the show in the square was over, and there was nothing more to see, so she left as well. However, Sima Yue said that this was the Tao family after all, so she couldn't be too ostentatious. After keeping them in the spirit pagoda, she went out and found a place where no one was around to let them out. Because of the Tao family assembly, there were more people in the city, so it wasn't that easy to find an inn. It was a good thing that Sima Yue had booked a room at the inn where Guinda and the others were staying. When Guinda and the others came back, it was almost night time. When they saw the people sitting in the living room, they were stunned for a moment. Yue, you're back. He walked over and greeted them with a smile. Yes. Uncle Gua, why did you come back so late? Sima Yue stood up and asked them to sit down. Isn't it because of those things? Guinda sighed as he spoke. I really didn't expect that things would turn out like this after so many twists and turns. Uncle Gua, I heard that the other families went back rather early. Why did you guys come back so late? Han Miaoshuang asked. They left early. We were left behind by the patriarch, the young master. Guinda replied. His voice was light and cheerful. It seemed like it was a good thing that Tao Yixian had left them behind. Sima Yue wasn't surprised. Tao Yixian was in need of people now and his relationship with the Gua family wasn't bad. After the incident at Rabbit Ear Mountain, he knew that the Gua family was on his side. How could he not put them in an important position? Then I have to congratulate you guys. In the future, the Gua family's situation will definitely get better and better, Sima Yue said with a smile. Guinda laughed embarrassedly. Uncle Gua, what happened after that? At that time, we saw the previous family head wearing a green hat. What happened after that? Were they captured? Han Miaoshuang asked nosily. Guinda looked around and confirmed that there was no one around before saying, captured. Of course they captured them. Not only did they capture them, But they also captured the unconscious second Master Tao. Second Master Tao? Why did they capture him? Of course it's that. You know what I mean. Sima Yue blinked and instantly understood. You're saying that second Master Tao and his sister-in-law. Han Miaoshuang cried out in shock and quickly covered her mouth. It's good that you guys know about this. Why did you have to say it out loud? Guinda said embarrassedly. Sima Yue smiled. I really didn't expect that even a scum like second Master Tao would have someone willing to be unfaithful to him. I wonder what Tao Yixian's father's expression will be when he hears about this. But isn't second Master Tao still unconscious? Did they capture him and lock him up? Not really. They directly told Great Master Ji not to detoxify him. They let him sleep for the rest of his life. Then when Tao Yixian became the patriarch, those people didn't object. With the old ancestor around, who would dare to say anything? Guinda thought about the old ancestor's power, and his eyes filled with admiration. Even so, it's not that easy to completely control the family. I don't know when he'll be able to fulfill his promise, Han Miaoshuang said. Sima Yue didn't know how to guess. When would Tao Yixian be able to control the Tao family? When would he have the ability to do this? With the old ancestor around, it shouldn't take long. Also, he was so smart and scheming. If those people really wanted to fight with him, she really didn't know who would win. Let's wait. Anyway, Master's life jade is still fine. We can afford to wait for a few days, she said. They chatted for a while before everyone went back. Quite a few people from the Guo family came. Aside from the few rooms that Yue and the others took, the rest were all booked by them. Before Guinda left, he said that he was going to prepare for the Tao family's meeting later. He said that it would continue, but it was different from before. This time, the family could send people to participate. As long as they had outstanding talent, they could also be nurtured by the family. Sima Yue thought that this guy really knew how to put up a front. At this time, this was the best way to help him pull people in. Chapter 1633. For the next few days, Tao Yixian didn't come to look for Sima Yue, but he sent someone to tell her that he would be busy these few days, and that he would come to see her when he was done. Sima Yue didn't care about this, saying that she would wait and didn't pay attention to it. Han Miaoshuang and the others went out for a walk these few days, pulling Jiang Junxian and Su Xiaoxiao along, not seeing them for the entire day. They originally wanted to pull Sima Yue along, but she wasn't interested and stayed in her room. After waiting for a few days, Tao Yixian didn't come, but old Ji did. Sima Yue only heard the waiter say that someone was looking for her. At first, she thought that it was Tao Yixian, but when she saw that it was Great Master Ji, she was stunned. Old Ji, why are you here? Great Master Ji saw her and said excitedly, That poison, I've researched the antidote. Second Master Tao's poison? Sima Yue asked. Yes. I'll tell you all. Great Master Ji, you haven't answered my question yet. Sima Yue said. What question did you ask? Great Master Ji looked at her blankly, not expecting her to ask anything. I'm asking, how did you know that I live here? Sima Yue repeated. Oh, about that, I asked the patriarch to look for you. He said that you were here, so I came over. Great Master Ji said he knows that I know you. However, after being interrupted by Sima Yue, he didn't continue to tell her about the antidote. Let's go. I was just about to brew a pot of tea. It's your favorite Dahong Pao. Sima Yue invited. Really? Then I came at the right time. Go, let's go to your room. Great Master Ji was excited when he heard about Dahong Pao. He drank the Dahong Pao tea she brewed by chance and fell deeply in love with it. However, Sima Yue had only brewed it once or twice in those few days. Although she gave him some for him to brew himself, he couldn't brew it with this taste. Now that he heard that she had Dahong Pao to drink, how could he still remember that he had come to show off to her? Sima Yue brought him to her room. Great Master Ji saw that the prepared tea set was placed on the tatami mat in the room. He was just waiting for the water to boil, so he ran over happily. Sima Yue went to the other side of the short table and started boiling water. Alright, old Ji, You can tell me how you cured the poison now. What kind of herbs are used? Actually, it's nothing much. I just used. Great Master Ji listed a bunch of herbs, but his eyes were fixed on Sima Yoyue's hand that was picking up the tea. By the way, I might have to leave. Leave? Sima Yue was surprised. Didn't you say you were going to stay in the Tao family? However, Great Master Ji sighed and said, the Tao family has already changed. The future Tao family is no longer suitable for me. Is it because of Tao Yixian? You can say that. He's not what he looks like. He's not simple. Sima Yue could see this as well, so she didn't try to persuade him anymore. Tao Yixian was different from his father. He wouldn't treat someone like Great Master Ji with too much courtesy. He wouldn't provide Great Master Ji with any better conditions, and would think of ways to squeeze out his value. It's good that I'm leaving. The world is big, so I can't be trapped on this island forever. I still have to go out for a walk. Great Master Ji was still very open-minded. If this place didn't want him, there would be other places for him, right? Sima Yue handed him the freshly brewed Dahong Pao. Then when do you plan to leave? Aren't you going to leave once you find him? I'll follow you. Great Master Ji said. I'll go with you. Since he liked interacting with her, he might as well go with her now. Will he agree to let you leave? Sima Yue asked. Naturally, she was referring to Tao Yixian. What does it matter if he agrees or not? I'm not from the Tao family. If we're talking about who I owe a favor to, it's his father. I won't give him any face. Let me tell you, I've already packed my things and brought them with me. If you agree, I won't be going back today. Sima Yue was speechless as she looked at this guy who acted so quickly. If you leave just like that, what's going to happen to your little disciple? Him? I'll leave him at home. Leave him at home? That's right. I asked him today if he wanted to go out with me or stay at home. He said he wanted to stay at home, so I asked him to stay. Sima Yue finally felt that he was a little strange. When he said he wanted to stay at home, he meant he wanted to guard the house for you. He doesn't know that you don't plan to go back, right? Great Master Ji was stunned. He really didn't tell him anything. You should hurry and bring him out. Sima Yue waved her hand at him in disdain. There's no hurry. I'll go back after I finish drinking. Great Master Ji said. Anyway, I'm not in a hurry. I'll leave today. Sima Yue suddenly sympathized with the little child. To have such an unreliable master, it was similar to how Old Man Devil treated Wu Lingyu. As expected, Old Man Devil left very late that day. After drinking tea, he dragged her to study poisons. When he left, the sky was already dark. Sima Yue sent him off and went to find Guinda to ask if they had any empty rooms. The entire inn was booked by the Guo family, so she had to ask for their permission if she wanted to add more people. She didn't expect that the Guo family had already filled up all the rooms. Guinda got 2 young juniors to share a room and left 1 empty room for her. The next day, Great Master Ji brought the little child over. Seeing that it was just a small room, he didn't mind. On the other hand, the little child frowned in disgust. How can I live in such a small room? He pouted. Guinda was a little embarrassed. The room was indeed small. If you think it's small, you can move out. In such a big city, you'll definitely be able to find a room that suits you. Sima Yue said. I don't want someone who doesn't know how to be grateful to stay with us. If it was someone else who tamed him, the little child would definitely be angry. However, it was her, so he could only lower his head. I didn't say that I don't want to stay. He said in a small voice. Uncle Gua and the others are willing to give their rooms to you. They don't owe you anything. If you don't know how to be grateful, then you don't deserve to be treated well. Do you understand? When she met Little Tu, he wasn't much older than the little child, but he was so obedient and cute. Now that she saw the little child like this, she couldn't help but say a few more words. She remembered that the little child wasn't anyone to her. His master was still here, so she went a little overboard. She apologized to Great Master Ji. Old Ji, I'm sorry. I didn't keep my mouth shut. It's fine. The little child has always been neglected. You didn't even care about him. Sima Yue cursed in her heart, but didn't say it out loud. Just like that, Great Master Ji stayed, and no one from the Tao family came to look for him. His matter passed just like that. Chapter 1634. It wasn't until half a month after that incident that Tao Yixian finally dragged his exhausted body to the inn. Sima Yue poured him a cup of tea and said, "You don't look very well. Drink some tea to wake yourself up." Tao Yixian did not stand on ceremony as he took the tea and drank it in one gulp. Then he looked at her. She smiled and poured him another cup. "If you're like this, I'll think that you won't even have water to drink after becoming the head of the family." She teased. "That's about right." Tao Yixian said, "I just wanted to sort things out quickly so I could come and see you." "So you're saying that you've already started?" Sima Yue thought about the ambiguity in his words and changed the topic. She did not really think that Tao Yixian was working so hard for her. "You can say that. I've already grasped the general direction." Tao Yixian said, "Yue, you're going to tell me the details of the people you're looking for now, right?" "All right." Sima Yue took out 2 portraits and said, "These are my master and teacher. They came to the Lost Lands a few decades ago. In the beginning, there aren't many outsiders on this island. A few decades ago, they weren't that far from here. You should be able to find them." Tao Yixian said, "However, it might take some time. Let me know if there's any news." Sima Yue said, "All right. However, I won't be staying in Phoenix City for long. If I leave, I think you'll have a way to find me." Sima Yue said, "You're leaving?" Tao Yixian said a little anxiously. "Since your main goal in coming here is to find them, I'll send people to help you find them. You just have to wait here for the results." "I can't wait any longer," Sima Yue said. "Instead of being anxious here, why don't I go out and search?" "You said that they're very good at alchemy and medicine?" Tao Yixian asked. "Yes. What about it? If that's really the case, they might be participating in the Crimson Pearl Convention." "Crimson Pearl Convention? What's that?" Sima Yue asked. "It was a conference about medicinal herbs and alchemy. The people on this island are far too bored. They always like to find something to do and satisfy their vanity at the same time, making it seem as if the people here are more powerful than the outsiders." Tao Yixian said sarcastically. "You think that my master and the others will participate in this Crimson Tree meeting?" Sima Yue guessed. "Since your master and the others are experts in this field, they might participate or have participated in it before." "Participated in it before?" "I'm just guessing. If they had participated in it, they would have left behind some clues, and we might be able to start our investigation from there." "Then I'll have to trouble you." Sima Yue said, "Where will the Crimson Bamboo meeting be held this year?" The Crimson Bamboo meeting is always held in the 4 major cities. This year it's White Tiger City's turn. White Tiger City. Sima Yue remembered that it was not easy to enter the city and said, "Is it impossible to enter White Tiger City now? Those with invitations are welcome." "Then can you help me get an invitation?" "Sure." Outsiders were invited by their families to participate in this event. Regardless of their strength or status, they could invite those who were qualified to participate. The Tao family was one of the top families in Vermilion Bird City, so they naturally had this qualification. "Thank you," Sima Yue said gratefully. "This is what we agreed on, so there's no need to thank me." Tao Yixian said, "I need a bit of time, so I'll give it to you tomorrow. There's still some time before the Crimson Pearl meeting, so there's still time. Also, I'll send people over to investigate first. Since there's a starting point, it should be much easier to investigate. Once there's news, I'll let you know." "All right." Tao Yixian did not sit for long before leaving. Right now, he had too many things to do. He had to quickly send people to investigate Su Jin and the others, so that he could give her news when she reached White Tiger City. The next day, Tao Yixian did not come, but he sent a guard to deliver an invitation. Sima Yue looked at the vermilion bird drawn on the invitation, and thought of Qi Yan. If they knew that she really had a vermilion bird, what kind of expression would they have? "Young Miss Yue, My master has instructed that if you encounter any danger, and it's not convenient for you to come out, you are to release this signal flare into the air. Our people will rush over to save you. The guard took out a signal flare and handed it to Sima Yue. I understand. Sima Yue took the signal flare and said, Goodbye. Sima Yue studied the signal flare in her hand, and knew that he was doing her a favor. He knew that she had so many people, but she might not be able to use them. However, since he was doing her a favor, whether she used it or not was her own business. Since they had already received the invitation, they did not stay here any longer, and went to find Guinda and the others to say goodbye. The other small families had already left, but the Gua family was still busy here. She could already see the signs of their rise. You're leaving already? Guinda did not think that they would leave so soon. He thought that they would stay here to wait for news from Tao Yixian. We're going to participate in the Crimson Pearl Convention. Sima Yue said, although there's still a bit of time, we want to go to White Tiger City to take a look. That's good too. Then be careful on your way. If you need anything, just contact us. I hope that we'll have a chance to meet again. Guinda smiled. The world is big, we'll meet again. Goodbye. Guinda and the others watched as Sima Yue and the others left. Thinking about what happened after they met her, they felt rather emotional. It's really not bad for people to live like them. Gua Xian was a little envious. With power, you can do whatever you want. Now you know that there's always someone better than you, right? Work hard on your cultivation. Guinda spurred. When have I ever not worked hard? However, I feel that I can't be as carefree and casual as she is. Even when she needs help from others, she can make things better for herself. It's as if no matter how difficult things are, she can easily solve them. Wait for the clan to settle down, then you should go out and take a look. This world is very big. If you stay on this island, you'll be confined. Okay. It was said that White Tiger City's teleportation array was closed. Sima Yue and the others could only leave Vermilion Bird City and call out Chongming to fly towards White Tiger City. Luckily, Vermilion Bird City was in the south of the island and White Tiger City was in the west. The distance was not very far. Even if they rode on flying beasts, it did not take long. Halfway there, Little Lucky and the ancient spirit beast came back together. Why is it only you? Where's Little Roar? He left with Big Sister and said that he'll come back later to find you. I missed you, so I came back. Sima Yue knew that Little Lucky was very clingy to her, and Little Roar loved to play. She did not think much of it and continued on with him. When they arrived at White Tiger City, they saw the towering city walls. On the city walls, there were carvings of white tigers. The carvings were vivid and lifelike, as if a white tiger was standing on the city walls, roaring towards the sky. Sima Yue focused on it and suddenly thought of a question that she had never thought of before. If the vermilion bird was with her, then where were the other three spirit beasts? Chapter 1635. Love, Azure Dragon of the East, White Tiger of the West, Vermilion Bird of the South, and Black Tortoise of the North. The four divine beasts used to be the guardian beasts of the continent, maintaining the balance of the world. The Vermilion Bird was with her, but where were the remaining Azure Dragon, White Tiger and Black Tortoise? Also, why was Crimson Flame injured? When he met it, the egg was already dead. How many years had it been waiting there? Crimson Flame had never told him about this, and he had never thought about it. Now that he saw the White Tiger, he began to think about this problem. Crimson Flame was still hiding a lot of things from her. She decided that when she had time, she must ask Qian clearly. However, she did not expect that before she could ask, someone else would come knocking on her door and drag her into another storm. Feng Zhixing and the others saw her staring blankly at the White Tiger statue. They knew that she must be thinking about something, so they didn't say anything and waited for her to come back to her senses. The guards of the city weren't happy with them standing there. Hey, are you guys going into the city? You can't enter White Tiger City now, so go somewhere else. These people were obviously outsiders. Outsiders without invitations were not allowed to enter. These people had been standing here for so long, They definitely did not have invitations. Sima Yue retracted her gaze from the white tiger statue, walked to the guard and took out her invitation card. You have an invitation? The guard was a little surprised, but he still took the invitation and looked at it. Vermilion Bird City's Tao family? I've never heard of them inviting anyone. Sima Yue did not say anything. There was no need to answer such a question. As expected, after the guard confirmed the authenticity of the invitation, he returned it to her and said, "Since you are here to participate in the Crimson Pearl Convention, you may enter." Sima Yue smiled at him and thanked him. Then she led the others in. The guards of White Tiger City are pretty good. This means that the people in White Tiger City are not bad, Su Xiao said. When we went out for a stroll, we heard that the Vermilion Bird City and White Tiger City's relationship was rather hostile. We were recommended by the Vermilion Bird City, and they didn't make things difficult for us. Han Miaoshuang said. There's such a thing. Yes. Anyway, there are some powers in Vermilion Bird City that don't have good family values, so I think they might have done something annoying. We were only invited to participate in the competition. Of course, they wouldn't make things difficult for us. Sima Yue said, but this White Tiger City is really fair. Almost all the houses here were built with white stones. Occasionally, they would be decorated with other colors, but they were very rare. Let's find a place to stay, Huang Yingying said. However, they wandered around for a whole day, from morning to night, but they did not find a single vacant inn. In addition to outsiders, people from other places also came here, so the inns were all full. Although some inns were not full, the entire inn had been booked, so they could not stay there. Let's ask this one again. If it doesn't work, we can only sleep on the streets. Han Miaoshuang said dejectedly. Let's give it a try. There must be a way. Sima Yue did not expect the inn to be so popular. They entered the inn and saw the shopkeeper behind the counter. Before they could speak, they heard the shopkeeper say, "I'm sorry, dear guests. Our inn has been booked." Booked again? This result was not unexpected. Sigh, looks like we really have to sleep on the streets today. Sleeping on the streets, this is the first time in my life. These people could be considered to have lived a life of luxury. Now that they were sleeping on the streets, the image did not look good. Don't you have any more rooms? A clear voice came from the side. Everyone looked up and saw a lady in a light yellow dress walking down the stairs. The shopkeeper saw the lady and bowed. Miss Xue Wu, why did you come down? I'm missing a medicinal ingredient, so I want to take a look at the medicinal ingredient store. Mo Xue Wu replied, then looked at Han Miaoshuang and said, You said you were going to sleep on the streets. We've been looking for an inn for a whole day. If it's not full, it's booked. Han Miaoshuang shrugged helplessly. This happens every time the Crimson Pearl Convention. Didn't you book an inn in advance? Mo Xue Wu felt that she was being rude after speaking. Sorry, I didn't notice that you were outsiders. Did you just come to the island? Yes. No wonder you're not familiar with this. Mo Xue Wu smiled. At this time, I'm afraid there aren't any more inns in the entire White Tiger City. Sima Yue and the others looked at each other. As expected, this was the result. How about this shopkeeper? We seem to have a few rooms left. Let them stay, Mo Xue Wu said. As long as Miss Xue Wu agrees, then there's no problem. However, there aren't enough rooms. You may have to squeeze in. Some people want 2 people to a room, the shopkeeper said. That's no problem. Compared to sleeping on the streets, this is nothing, Su Xiao said. Then we'll have to thank Miss Xue Wu. They were really grateful to this lady. I'm called Mo Xue Wu. You can call me Xue Wu. Mo Xue Wu smiled. You can stay first. Since you're all here to participate in the Crimson Pearl Convention, I'll definitely look for you to discuss later. I'm going to buy a medicinal ingredient, so I'll leave first. After speaking, she smiled at everyone and walked past them out of the inn. Shopkeeper, who was that young lady just now? She's so nice. Han Miaoshuang asked. That's Azure Dragon City's Mo clan's eldest Miss Mo Xue Wu. The Mo clan is a kind-hearted clan. Our inn was booked by the Mo clan. The shopkeeper said. Now that Miss Shuewu has agreed, follow me. I'll arrange rooms for you. A kind-hearted clan? The shopkeeper's choice of words was a little subtle. However, this Mo Shuewu was really kind-hearted. The rest of the Mo clan are staying upstairs. Now there are only a few rooms left. The shopkeeper said, the lighting in these rooms isn't good and they're smaller. That's why they're empty. However, they're still very clean. As long as they're clean, everything else isn't important. Huang Yingying said. Because there weren't enough rooms, in the end, Grandpa and Grandma shared a room. Master and Father shared a room. Su Xiao and Jiang Junxian shared a room. Sima Yue and Han Miaoshuang shared a room. And Great Master Ji and Little Doll shared a room. Not long after they settled in, there was a commotion outside. When they looked out of the window, they realized that the other young masters of the Mo clan had returned. The shopkeeper told them about the strangers that Mo Shuewu had left behind. Those young masters only furrowed their brows slightly, but didn't say anything. They didn't chase them away. Looks like the shopkeeper was right. The people of the Mo clan are kind-hearted. Han Miaoshuang said as she closed the window. With absolute power, we're not afraid of encountering thieves. Sima Yue said with a smile. You're tuning in to the Li Mei Sword of Destiny YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.